to get going. Gary Patterson leading the Horned Frogs onto the field. These teams thinking we better get going if we want to be bowling.
It's two teams at a crossroads crossing paths here in Fort Worth, Texas. TCU plays host to West Virginia. And earlier this week, Mountaineers defensive tackle Shaq Rowell essentially spelled out the stakes in this game. Said, Rowell, we have to beat these guys. They're just like us. 3-5, we're both lagging. Whoever wins this game, they're going bowling, period. Point blank. Whoever loses, they're not. Both West Virginia and TCU have to go 3-1 in the month of November if they want to keep their postseason streaks alive. TCU has gone bowling 8 straight seasons. West Virginia, 11 in a row. That was the prologue for the All-State game of the week. The setting is Amon Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas. TCU and West Virginia both in a sophomore slump in the Big 12. Both 3-5, 1-4 in conference play. Good afternoon, Anish Shroff alongside Dan Hawkins. Well, you saw what Shaq Rowell said earlier this week. Both coaches said it's not a must-win. Mathematically, the loser still has a shot to get into the postseason. Realistically, they probably don't.
He said what nobody wants to say, and that's the reality. At this point in the year, you want the extra practices, momentum in recruiting. The numbers are starting to count down. Today's a big win for both programs.
When you look at the schedule that both teams have left, this game essentially becomes the swing game.
You don't like to look at the schedule and go, we should beat them and shouldn't beat them, but definitely you think there's a couple of wins for both teams remaining on that schedule should they get something done today.
Both teams are 3-5. Both have had their issues on offense. To go even bigger picture, West Virginia has had a tough time closing out opponents. TCU has had a tough time starting the sentence. They've struggled in the first half.
Yeah, lack of efficiency for West Virginia. Some turnovers and drop balls for TCU. They can't give it away on offense because they got a great defense. They need to make sure they take care of the football.
West Virginia in the all-white. TCU comes out, purple matte helmets, anthracite jerseys, and purple pants. And the Horned Frogs will receive. It's a touchback, so TCU will start from its own 25-yard line. Casey Paul saw some time last week. In fact, he came in the third series against Texas, played the rest of the way. This is his first start since week 2 when he broke his non-throwing arm. Had some rust last week in the loss to Texas, just 13-34, 139 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. They're hoping Paul Hall, with a week of practice after getting thrown in the fire last week, can provide a spark to a TCU offense that's been lagging all season.
He didn't get much help from his receiving corps. Dropped 9 or 10 passes last week, and then with the rush of Texas, it was very tough for him to get anything done.
Paul Hall to throw on first down. The pass is tipped, intercepted by Nick Kwiatkowski, and we've got our first turnover of the game on the very first play.
Following the same recipe that's plagued them in the past, as we mentioned before we came on, very good on defense. You're going to see it get a little rush up here. And he tapped ball, hit by Kyle Rose starting today for the first time, but great TCU defense, but tough to start when you're backed up in your own red zone.
So West Virginia looking to cash in off the turnover. Clint Trickett, the Florida State transfer, making his 5th start of the season for the Mountaineers. High snap. This is Charles Sims, the Houston transfer, who's West Virginia's leading rusher and also leads the team in receptions. And that's a gain of 9. Hawk for Trickett. Communication from the sidelines running the offense. It's been an issue at times. He graduated Florida State early. He's kind of looking to get going and getting this Mountaineer offense going today.
Not going to help. We learned earlier that Ronald Carswell, one of the receivers, not starting, not playing because of a team rules violation, but he needs to be more efficient. Clint Trickett's got to deliver the ball.
Here's Sims. And he picks up a West Virginia first down, but hang on, there's a flag on the play.
West Virginia really struggling in the red zone, and usually that's because of a lack of a power running game.
Offside, number 25 of the defense, lined up in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
That's Kevin White, the junior cornerback. So West Virginia gets the first down on the penalty.
You get these quick strike offenses, those corners are going to walk up and try to press and reroute early because it's a quick throwing game, and then your corner sometimes gets off sides.
On first and goal, this is Sims again, and he's tackled by Jonathan Anderson after a gain of 2. It'll bring up second down and goal. West Virginia, the quarterback position, it's been a revolving door for most of the season. Trickett has stabilized that a little bit. Paul Millard was the starter the first 2 games, then Ford Childress for a couple of games. Trickett started his first game against Oklahoma State. The Mountaineers sprung the upset, but Trickett winless since. Back to Sims on second and goal. And he's trying to fight through that purple wall. Tackled again by Anderson, only a yard. So now third and goal.
West Virginia trying to help themselves in the red zone with a little power running formation. Clint Trickett under center with the tight end and 2 backs, being able to run the ball a little more efficiently out of formation.
TCU defensive line has held up pretty well this year, even with reigning conference player of the year DeMonte Fields out with a foot injury. Trickett throws. That's batted down by Sam Carter, the strong safety. Fourth down, and here comes the field goal unit.
Had a fake dialed up last week. West Virginia did against Kansas State. Did not work. Dana Holgerson told us that he felt like he had to pull a few more rabbits out of the hat just to help them get some offensive production.
Josh Lambert has been pretty good inside 50, 9 of 10 on the season. This is a 24-yarder for the redshirt freshman from Garland, Texas. Kick is good. West Virginia on the board first, 3-0. The Mountaineers getting 3 off the TCU turnover. Nick Kwiatkowski off the padded ball by Kyle Rose, and that leads to the field goal. TCU's path to the Big 12. It's been a long and windy one. We'll pick it up in 2010, where the Horned Frogs accepted an invitation to go to the Big East. In 2011, finishing that season with aplomb. 2012, TCU went 7-6, 4-5 in the Big 12, and then 3-5, 1-4 in the Big 12 this season. They were originally a part of that Southwest Conference, now defunct. Didn't get the Big 12 invite when a lot of those Southwest schools went to the Big 12, jumped around the WAC, Conference USA, the Mountain West, and now in the Big 12. And Gary Patterson's team, the first half has been a struggle. Only 5 offensive touchdowns in the first half all year. They've been shut out in the first half in 3 of their 5 conference games.
They opened it up against Texas, had a double pass, and ended up throwing a touchdown last week against Texas, but 3 previous games really inept.
Here's B.J. Catalon. He took a kickoff back for a touchdown against LSU in the season opener. Out of bounds near the 30-yard line, and that's where the Horned Frogs will start their second drive. The first drive, Hawk, lasted just 1 play. Casey Paul had his pass tipped and intercepted.
Well, the offensive line has really struggled. The starting right tackle quit before the season. Guard has to quit because of injuries. That leaves you very thin anyway, and that's the big issue offensively for TCU, is getting the offensive line to protect the quarterback and being able to open some holes and get the running game going.
TCU without wide receiver Brandon Carter today, out for personal reasons, according to the team. On the ground here on first down, and not much room for Wayman James, who was the team's leading rusher in 2011 and missed most of last season with a torn ACL.
Number 98, Will Clark for West Virginia, getting up there. He's a real force, leading their team in sacks, and I think they can get pressure on both sides with Golson as well. West Virginia was in 2 deep, only playing a 7-man box here, so the numbers say run it, but you got to be a little more efficient than that.
B.J. Catalon into the game is running back. Mountaineers bring pressure. Paul Hall completes to the freshman Ty Slanina. And a speedy Slanina picks up a first down. Finally brought down by Darwin Cook after a gain of 13.
Great job by Casey being able to see the pressure. West Virginia changing late, rotating down late. Nice identification by Casey Paul Hall.
With the issues TCU has had up front, Hawk, how does that affect the offense when you're not getting the initial protection?
It's a lot of problem because it forces you to go to the quick game like they did there. You're limiting your running game.
Paul Hall back to the air, wide open over the middle, David Porter. And he's got another first down for TCU. One thing TCU is looking for is a go-to wide receiver. They haven't had one all season.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they have to end up using Boykin also as a quarterback out of receiver as well.
Pressure again from West Virginia. Paul Hall with some time. And that's what we're talking about. That one is dropped by Josh Doxson, the Wyoming transfer. We saw a lot of that last week in the loss to Texas.
Got to be able to convert that a little bit. That's tough. Tough on your quarterback, tough on the continuity. And Casey Paul is doing a nice job seeing the pressure and going to the right receiver. He's got to be able to make a play. Mixing up the tempo, TCU going a little faster on the last bigger play. This time huddling up. A little more effective getting into some complicated running games and protections when you huddle.
That's Aaron Green, the Nebraska transfer. And he picks up 3. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 7. TCU on the season has struggled on 3rd downs 29%.
See the other side there of West Virginia defense, Brandon Golson, number 2. I think between he and Clark, probably 2 of the better ends in the league just in terms of their ability to get up the field and disrupt the offense.
We've got a timeout with 10:37 to go in the first quarter.
There is no foul for an illegal substitution. The timeout was called prior. Timeout charged to West Virginia. This is their first of the half. There will be timeout on the field.
Rick Lumiere, the head referee, will step aside with 10:37.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week. Brought to you by Allstate Insurance, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? And the Quicksilver Card from Capital One. Earn 1.5% cash back on every purchase.
Bovine University. Now that's actually a scene from the Fort Worth Stockyards. We are in Fort Worth, Texas. TCU trailing West Virginia 3-0. The Horned Frogs turned it over on their first possession. West Virginia got a field goal. TCU facing a 3rd and 7. The Horned Frogs have lost 2 straight. They have never lost 3 in a row since Gary Patterson has been the head coach. Paul Hall throws, completes near side. Ladarius Brown. And he's got a first down, finally wrestled out of bounds by Travis Bell. Brown has come on of late for TCU. 13 catches entering today in his last 2 games, just 10 in TCU's first 6 games.
Much better protection by TCU. West Virginia running a cross stunt on both sides of the defensive line, but picked up well, and Casey being able to deliver the ball without somebody in his face.
This is Aaron Green. And he picks up 3. Green got the start last week against Texas. B.J. Catalon and Wayman James did not play in the first quarter of that game due to a violation of a team rule.
West Virginia doing a nice job mixing it up, showing a 2-deep shell, shuffling down and bringing some pressure. Have given Casey several different looks.
Play action. Paul Hall hit, throws, completes And that's Doxson inside the 10-yard line. A gain of 19, and it's 1st and goal, TCU.
Casey got hit right at the end of this. Nice job delivering the ball. A lot of teams in the country doing that, faking that outside run that affects the outside linebacker, and then being able to throw the seam route in behind.
There's Gary Patterson, 61-12 at home as the head coach at TCU. Came here as a defensive coordinator under Dennis Franchione and took over after a few years as the head coach.
One of the things that happens with defensive coaches when they're head coaches, just their nature, is the offense usually doesn't put the defense at risk. And that's been the problem this year. They turned it over inside their own 5-yard line against Texas last week. But typically a defensive coach's offense is very efficient.
Trevon Boykin checks into the game for TCU, number 2 in purple. While Paul Hall was out with that broken left arm, it was Boykin playing quarterback, but Boykin's sort of their slash. He can play wide receiver right now, lined up in the slot, bottom of your screen. Paul Hall throws too high, and that was nearly intercepted. Intended target that time was Cam White. White back in the lineup this week after missing last week's game with a concussion.
This is what makes it tough on a spread offense when you get down here, because you're always outnumbered and you have to just get into a power running set, and your running back's got to make people miss or run people over. You don't have enough blockers, and it's hard throwing the ball when the safeties aren't having to play deep.
And it's tough with the line that TCU has this year to bully folks, especially at this end of the field. Boykin now in the backfield. He's going to throw it. At least he was going to try to. Now Boykin trying to make something out of nothing. And he dives inside the 5-yard line, but it brings up 4th and goal.
Doing a nice job. They're trying to throw it back to Casey Paul Hall here. Had him for a second, but because of the pressure, had to be able to pull it down. KJ Dillon did a nice job for West Virginia, picking up Casey coming out of the backfield. Looked for a second like he was going to be wide open.
So the sophomore Jaden Oberchrome on for the field goal attempt. On the season, he's been money inside 50, 10 for 11. From 22, and that's good, and we're tied at 3. So TCU marching downfield on its second possession, comes away with a field goal. Here's Dana Holgerson. He's endured a tough 16 games since West Virginia started 5-0 last year. The Mountaineers are just 5-11. So much lost on offense with the departures of Geno Smith, and Stedman Bailey, and Tavon Austin. Kick bounces out of the end zone. West Virginia starts at its own 25-yard line. And really replacing those guys, they've had to piece together almost a Frankenstein offense. Quarterback Clint Trickett came from Florida State. Charles Sims was at Houston last year. Dreamus Smith, the backup running back, a JUCO guy. 3 junior college guys who figure prominently at wide receiver. Carswell not playing today. Dakeil Shorts played high school ball last year. Then you bring in 3 new offensive coaches. It's tough to have any sort of continuity.
Yeah, it's hard. They said it's just weird looking out on the field and seeing nobody from last year on this year's team.
This is Vernon Davis on the fly sweep. And Davis gets a yard. It'll bring up 2nd down and 9. Jonathan Anderson, the former safety, now a linebacker on the tackle.
You see TCU making an adjustment right on the motion. Gary's just such a great teacher, Gary Patterson, on defense. They don't just play a defense, they defense plays. And every little indicator you give, they're onto it. As soon as they went in motion, they were in a total fly sweep adjustment defensive pattern.
Trickett to throw on 2nd down, well short of his intended receiver, Mario Alford. Alford part of that junior college triumvirate at wide receiver along with Kevin White and Ronald Carswell. Alford getting the start today with Carswell suspended because of a violation of a team rule.
Saw Clint Trickett doing a good job getting the ball out early, which is what he does. Is a good anticipator, but not necessarily the kind of arm strength that's going to drive that 18-yard comeback on the sideline.
Trickett 1 for 3 in the game so far. Throws over the middle. That's caught. It's the true freshman Da'Keil Shorts, and he takes it to the 40-yard line, a gain of 14.
Great job seeing the adjustment and the role of the coverage on the back end. Safety's kind of tilted over to the right and did a nice job driving that ball inside.
Shorts, a guy who's played well at home this season. Not the case on the road. That was just his 6th catch in this West Virginia's 5th road game. He's got 26 in 4 home games. Play action. Trickett to Sims. The running back also leads West Virginia in receptions. And coach, we're going to see a lot of that from this Mountaineer offense, dumping it off to good old number 3, their old reliable.
And that's been their forte, is catch and run and get yards after contact, yards after the catch. That's not been something they've been able to get done this year.
You don't see Stedman Bailey and Tavon Austin and J.D. Woods on that list.
Tavon Austin doing a nice job for the Rams, Los Angeles, or the St. Louis Rams right now.
High pass. It's hauled in by Jordan Thompson. It's a gain of 8 yards, a first down for West Virginia. Don't forget, college football continues on ESPNU tonight. ACC matchup, Vadley and Georgia Tech. Look for its 3rd straight win. Yellow Jackets home for Pittsburgh. That's at 7 Eastern tonight. Pistol look on 1st and 10. Back to Thompson. And he's hit shy of the 40-yard line, a gain of 5. On the tackle that time, Chris Hackett, TCU's leading tackler. It's tough to take shots downfield against this TCU secondary. Jason Verrett is an All-American. Sam Carter, Elisha Olabode back deep. Kevin White's pretty good. It's one of the better secondaries in the country. And, of course, you got Chris Hackett, who's got 3 picks as well.
Yeah, and it's hard by the nature of their formations where they're not necessarily max protecting.
Trickett, that time, he finds a receiver. It's a first down. Alford on the catch. Caught it in front of Kevin White. It's a gain of 11.
Here you say West Virginia is trying to go a little bit faster.
Completed catch. First down.
They'd like to go fast, but they've not been able to play at the kind of tempo just due to the inexperience.
The previous play of a completed catch for a first down is under further review.
It's tough. You want to get it right, but kind of disrupts the flow of the offense.
Oh, I think that's coming back. Not sure he had control.
Well, we'll see if they can get 12 out of 12 jurors to approve that. It can't be 11 out of 12. It got to be a unanimous decision.
It's got to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call. But right there,
yeah,
looks like Alford's juggling the ball and it hits the ground. You talked about tempo, Hawk, with Clint Trickett. That's been the issue, communication from the sideline and running this offense at the tempo Dana Holgorsen is used to.
Well, and then you have all those new receivers, too, so everybody's trying to get on the same page. And, you know, typically in this type of offense, your quarterback can control the routes on both sides with hand signals and or be able to see the adjustments by the defense and do different things. So trying to get all 11 guys on the same page is tough when you're going fast.
And you think of it from the perspective of the skill players. They've had to adapt and adjust to 3 quarterbacks this season.
Yeah, definitely a little bit different that way as well. You know, the beauty is, again, a guy like Gary Patterson, when you play against great defensive coordinators and you are a huddle team and you get into formations, they're going to dial you up. They're going to have an adjustment for everything you have. So going fast sometimes at least helps limit what the defensive coordinator can do to impact your game plan offensively. We're kind of entering that side of the field here down in the red zone. West Virginia has really struggled down here again, unable. They gave the ball to Sims 3 straight times before they kicked the field goal last time. But this is where, again, you got to have a running game that can break tackles and run into safeties and get some stuff done.
After review, the ruling is that it was an incomplete pass. The ball will be returned to the previous spot, which is the 41-yard line. It'll be third down.
Love the fact they got it right. I'm lobbying for a live official in the booth with a headset, guys wired up, watching it just like we're watching it, talking, communicating, so we don't have to stop and have indisputable evidence. That's what I'm lobbying.
Need a petition? I can get you one.
You're the man. You're the man.
3rd and 6 now. West Virginia on the season, 30% on third downs. Empty look as Sims goes wide. Trickett hit as he throws it. Incomplete. That time TCU brought the corner blitz with Jason Verrett, the All-American.
You're going to see Jason Verrett going corner blitz coming from the boundary here on the right-hand side of your screen. Does not get picked up, just a little bit late.
Verrett is semi-finalist for the Thorpe Award. That's given to the best defensive back in college football. Nick O'Toole goes by the nickname Boomstash. He's on punted away. Takes a bounce inside the 5. The ball crossed the plane of the end zone. It did. In college, it's a touchback. So TCU gets it at the 20. We check in with Dari Noga.
Anish, let's check in with the Dr. Pepper 10 conference update. We'll stay in the Big 12. John Hubert takes one to the house for Kansas State. He's got 73 yards on just 4 carries. K-State leading Iowa State in Manhattan 10-0, guys.
All right, thank you, Dari. Kansas State knocked off West Virginia last week.
This happens every year.
Let's take a look at the punt one more time. As soon as the ball crosses the plane, it's an automatic touchback.
Yeah, and as soon as you step in the end zone and hit it, it becomes a touchback.
Trayvon Boykin in the game at wide receiver for TCU. On first down, that's B.J. Catalon, and he's across the 30-yard line to the 31, a gain of 11. And a first down for the Horned Frogs.
Doing a good job seeing two deep coverage, being able to hand the football there, running against advantageous numbers.
Pistol look here on 1st and 10. 4 receiver set. Paul Hall to David Porter. Gets a block. And then he gets out of bounds. Marked out at the 39-yard line. It's a gain of 8.
People talk about tackling in modern-day football. When you have good athletes out in space and you throw those kinds of plays, it's hard getting a guy down when you have no help.
B.J. Catalon on 2nd and short. Looks like he's got enough for a first down. TCU moving the chains. The West Virginia defense comes into this game really beat up and banged up. A lot of injuries have taken their toll. The Mountaineers started off playing well on defense this season. Played well in the win against Oklahoma State, but since the Baylor game where West Virginia got lit up for 73, the coach is telling us it took a little while for the defense to get its confidence back after that game. Baylor scored 56 just in the first half.
You think?
Yeah, that'll stay with you. Jared Barber on the stop as B.J. Catalon picks up 2 more. It'll bring up 2nd and 8.
Shuffling going with the defensive line. That's one of the difficulties in the no-huddle offense is they really wear that group up front out. Normally you want your defensive linemen playing 3-4 plays maybe. You get on these big drives, it's tough.
Safety blitz picked up by TCU. Paul Hall taking a chance deep. Doxson makes the catch inside the 20-yard line.
Great protection, good job picking it up. See right here, stepping up, good block. Casey Paul Hall giving Dotson a chance to make the play. Ishmael Banks on the coverage. Dotson doing a nice job holding him off a little bit there with his hand, then going up and making a play.
When these two teams played last year, it was Banks who was burned on that 94-yard touchdown in the final 2 minutes of the game that allowed TCU to tie it, send it to OT, and the Horned Frogs ended up winning in double overtime. Here's Boykin on the screen. Trayvon Boykin tiptoeing the sideline. He's going to be marked out at the 11-yard line. It's a gain of 9.
West Virginia had numbers out there. There were 3 defenders on 2 receivers. Shows you how strong they feel about throwing it out there anyway. And then just here's your missed tackles. And they threw that play last week and were able to go double pass against Texas for a touchdown.
With Trayvon Boykin in the game, it opens up the playbook for this TCU offense. Here's Catalan. Got a couple, enough for the first down. B.J. Catalan, a sophomore, started low on the depth chart last year due to some injuries. Got a chance as a true freshman, ended up leading the team in rushing. Had the most rushing yards by a true freshman since Aaron Brown in 2005.
I think he's definitely the guy they want to go to. Unfortunately, you can't have issues with violation of team rules.
Paul Hall, touchdown pass to Dotson, and that's Casey Paul Hall's first touchdown pass of the season.
Same play they ran in the first drive. Fake influence the backer. He's got to step up and then just run a seam route in behind, and the safety unable to make a play inside of that ball.
Big first quarter for Josh Dotson, a transfer from Wyoming. 3 catches, 66 yards. Point after is good. Casey looks comfortable in the saddle. And his first start since week 2. It's Dotson long downfield and then short for the TD. With Dan Hawkins and Ish Schroff early on, coach, a good sign for this TCU offense, which has struggled in the first half all season.
Getting much more production. They had the 1 negative play to start the game. But have stayed in manageable situations. The running game's not been great, but somewhat effective. And then the big play to Dotson.
Casey Paul Hall has looked much better this week than last week. This is technically his first start since week 2. He came in on the 3rd series a week ago. 8 of 11 with a touchdown pass in the early going.
Doing a nice job getting the ball out early. And explosion plays you have right there. Expect West Virginia to take maybe a shot on this drive. We haven't seen that yet.
First down, there's Charles Sims, and he runs into a sea of purple right at the line of scrimmage. No gain.
TCU always good on defense, but you know, Chucky Hunter and Davion Pearson in there. Those are 2 big guys, well over 300 pounds. Tough to run the ball inside against those 2.
Play action. That's caught by Kevin White, makes a couple of guys miss. Still on his feet, and he fights to the 30 for a gain of 5. It'll bring up 3rd and 5. Kevin White's the guy coaches say can be the best receiver on this Mountaineer team. He's been better of late, but inconsistent for most of the season.
A little slippery. TCU did a good job, and that's where those screens to throw a 5-yard pass and you got the 70-yard gain. You get those experienced guys that got some skills.
Trick it on 3rd down. That was intended for shorts, incomplete, broken up by the safety Olabode, and it's 4th and 5.
Really nice job by Olabode. Both defenders underneath jumping a route and then running to the corner there, which not really his route to defend. But Olabode doing a great job getting his right hand in on the ball.
Nick O'Toole on to kick it away. Going around that West Virginia campus for his mustache. It is Movember, for those of you that follow. Cameron Eccles-Looper on the punt return. 4-yard return off a 39-yard punt. 8 seconds to go here in the first quarter. TCU up 10-3. Not far from Amon Carter Stadium, Texas Motor Speedway, as the Sprint Cup Series starts to wind down. Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth locked atop the chase standings. Both have done real well at Texas Motor Speedway. Kenseth, 7 wins. Technically, he's in first because of the number of wins. Both he and Johnson have the same amount of points, 2,294.
You got a driver? You're down there in Charlotte, Anish. You got a driver favorite?
You know, can't say I do. I like Kyle Busch, though. He's got a little swagger to him, kind of the bad boy of NASCAR.
That is the end of the first
We've played one quarter here in Fort Worth. TCU's offense finally has a bit of swagger. The Horned Frogs up by 7. About ready for the start of the second quarter here at Amon Carter Stadium. TCU leading West Virginia 10-3. Crucial game for both these teams. Casey Pawhall, this is his second game back from that broken left arm. What are you seeing in that first quarter?
Well, it helps when you don't have to throw the ball when you're laying on your back. He's getting the ball out early. The first play, the tip ball and the interception led to the pass interception. But in general, he's getting the ball out, been effective and efficient.
8 of 11, 123 yards. That interception was on his first throw, like Hawk said. Did have a touchdown pass to Josh Doxson. And Paul Hall's a guy, when he was out with that injury, he still traveled with the team. Coaches telling us he was really a leader when he was on the sidelines, and he's a kid who's matured quite a bit over the last couple of seasons.
It's one of the great things you see in college football. He's not going to be the first guy who's a little bit of a knucklehead when he first went to college. You learn from it, you grow, come back on the second chance, you kind of develop into a better man.
Empty look as Jordan Moore goes wide. That one deflected, and it's incomplete again in the direction of Doxson. He was covered by the true freshman Darrell Worley.
Good job coming off his first read, and a really good spot to throw the football. You want to throw it down and away on the hip, and just got a little bit deflected there.
Think about Paul Hall's path. Last year he left the team after 4 games to get help for substance abuse. Played 2 games before really breaking his arm in that second game against Southeast Louisiana. Hasn't had a whole lot of reps since the start of last season. That's caught by Boykin. And Trevon Boykin picks up 3. Good enough for a first down.
West Virginia playing a little more too deep consistently. They kind of mixed it up early in the game and showed a little pressure. See if they go back to that now. The other side, Casey Paul has been a nice job identifying it and getting rid of the football.
Paul over the middle. He's got Slanina, and the true freshman takes it inside the 35-yard line. Another TCU first down, a gain of 24.
Casey Pawhall took a shot right here. This is a mark of a good quarterback that can keep his focus downfield. He knows he's going to take a hit and gets rid of it and delivers.
Pawhall back to Doxson. He's been his favorite target. Ball comes out, but Doxson was ruled down. It'll bring up second down.
Great job by Darrell Worley, number 7, West Virginia, breaking on that ball right away. Now, sometimes you get the pump and go there.
Offense once again on the move, and as we said, scoring in the first half has been a struggle. Less than a touchdown in the first half on average coming into today. Already 10 points, looking for more inside the 35-yard line.
Both offensive coordinators spending a lot of time up at night.
Catalan's got a seam, and he's got a Horned Frog first down, a gain of 12 for the sophomore from Houston.
Still a much maligned offensive line for TCU, hanging in there, starting to provide some cracks. Catalan getting a few more pops. Must have been doing what he was supposed to be doing this week and wasn't in the doghouse. They need him to be effective.
TCU in the second quarter in the last 4 games has been outscored 37-3. Looking to flip the narrative here. Low snap. Here's Boykin. And Trevon Boykin takes it to the 15-yard line, a gain of 8.
Kind of nice when you get into 2 backs and fake that inside run game. Gets a 7-man front and still flip it outside and have athletes enough to get some productivity out there.
Boykin was the starting quarterback for the final 9 games last year and the 5 games that Paul Hall missed this year. This is Aaron Green. And he pushes forward.
There you go. You see safety Darwin Cook, 25 from West Virginia, dropping back down in the box as they're starting to get threatened in that run game, and ended up getting the first down, but doing a nice job making a stop from the safety position.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 11-yard line. TCU can still get another first down. Ball at the 12, rather. Again, safety blitz. Paul Hall hit, throws, complete, touchdown, David Porter.
Casey Paul Hall taking a shot, bringing Cook off the edge. Nice adjustment too. Going back, David Porter making a catch.
Gary Patterson telling us yesterday, if TCU can win this game, he said expect a new TCU for the balance of the regular season. As a head coach, you know what he means by that.
It's so important for confidence. It really is. And you can say what you want, but when you struggle and you struggle and you struggle, it's tough to break that cycle.
Casey Paul Hall has provided the spark today. His 2nd touchdown pass. This time, David Porter on the receiving end. All right, Dari. Dari's an Oklahoma alum. When TCU played Oklahoma, they had 17 total yards in the first half. Casey Paul Hall shaking off the rust from last week. This looks like a new Horned Frogs offense. And I know West Virginia hasn't been great defensively this season, but if you're Gary Patterson, you got to run with this.
A little confidence and continuity goes a long way.
West Virginia now looking for a spark from its offense. No chance to return this kick, but Casey Paul Hall, he's been the story of this first half.
Well, credit, I think, the play calling, because a lot of quick throws, a lot of reads where he's got to run and throw off of it. He is taking some shots, which I think probably concerns the TCU staff, but he sure is delivering.
192 total yards on offense for TCU. 2 offensive touchdowns in the first half. Entering play, just 5 total first half touchdowns all season, and only 3 first half touchdowns in 5 previous Big 12 games.
It's hard to know what that tipping point is, and when you get there, it's pretty awesome.
Play action out of the pistol. Clint Trickett throws, completes, and that's a first down across the 40-yard line. Jordan Thompson.
Great throw in anticipation. Good little play action, holds the linebackers, throwing it in behind. And once these no-huddle teams, once you get 1 first down, you get your defense arrested trying to go fast.
Again off play action, Trickett throws too high, intended for Mario Alford. Kevin White on the coverage for TCU. Both teams have a Kevin White. West Virginia number 11, the wide receiver. For TCU number 25, the defensive back.
Good place to go with the ball there. Trickett's feet just off a little bit, hence the ball going high. Not a lot of complexity on both sides defensively. TCU probably just with a little better overall talent level across the board.
TCU shows blitz. Run play. Dreamus Smith struggles just to get back to the line of scrimmage. Smith, a JUCO guy. We talked earlier. A lot of guys who have prominent roles on this West Virginia offense were playing elsewhere last season. Junior college, another FBS school, or high school.
Little different atmosphere down here in Amon Carter. First time we saw some pressure from TCU in a while. Big play right here for West Virginia. They got to get some continuity on offense because TCU's getting it going.
Sims split wide. Trickett chased. Under pressure, and down he goes. Sacked by Jonathan Anderson.
Wanted to get the ball out quick. Just got to be able to get rid of the football, particularly get outside the pocket. Don't take that 10-yard sack. Throw that ball away, even though you want to convert. Better than having 4th and 20. Get 4th and 10.
For all the offensive struggles TCU has had this season, defensively they've been sound. They came in leading the Big 12 in sacks and interceptions. There's Cameron Eccles-Looper, and he's tackled as he gets across the 25-yard line. A good 47-yard punt by Nick O'Toole. Casey Paul Hall gets another chance to add to what's been an impressive first half when we come back. Celebrating its 9th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $3.2 million in scholarship money. Casey Paul Hall has been money in this first half. 12 of 17, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did throw the pick on a tip ball on his first attempt of the game. But he's kind of been the spark that this offense has been searching for quite a while.
Nice to see him get some continuity going. You see the big pad on his left forearm, which he broke earlier in the year.
Paul Hall's got time going downfield for Brown, and just out of the reach of Ladarius Brown at 2nd and 10.
Got him a little pick route outside. Casey knows it. You get that one-on-one outside, you just like to get the ball up and give your guy a chance. Nothing else, you get the PI. Yeah, he knows it. You had to think that was coming. I thought West Virginia might try to throw deep last drive as well. You keep throwing the ball underneath, and then you try to take a shot over the top. See if West Virginia continues to bring some pressure here. They got to Casey a little bit.
TCU runs it, and it's Aaron Green with a gain of 9, close to a first down. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
TCU did end up blitzing Jared Barber there. Unfortunately, they were able to get a blocker on him and get a crease just outside, but they're getting a few hits on Casey from the last few drives. Try to blitz, get a turnover. TCU has been running it primarily in these 3rd and short drives, with giving him an opportunity to throw it off.
Paul Hall still got that sleeve on the left arm. That was the one that he broke. Green can't break the line of scrimmage, and it's going to bring up 4th down.
Great job by Nick Kwiatkowski getting out there, scraping over the top. That's a big stop. Kind of think TCU might be in danger, really getting it going if they convert and score on this drive. So credit West Virginia defense for coming up with a big play.
Ethan Perry on to punt it away for the first time. TCU 3 scoring drives. The first drive ended in an interception. Jordan Thompson back deep to return the punt. And he falls forward as he gets across the 10-yard line. 54-yard punt, just a 1-yard return. Tonight on ABC at 8 Eastern, a pair of unbeatens in the ACC. Number 7 Miami, 3rd ranked Florida State go at it in Tallahassee. Florida State trying to keep its national championship hopes alive. Miami looking to score its biggest win for Al Golden. Jameis Winston, the Florida State freshman, is dazzled this season. Currently number 2 in our Heismanology poll. And Jameis Winston is one of the reasons Clint Trickett is the starting quarterback at West Virginia. Trickett transferred from Florida State knowing he wasn't going to beat out famous Jameis. Here's Charles Sims, the Houston transfer. That's a big run, finally pushed out of bounds by Elisha Olabode after a 30-yard gain.
I was just going to comment that TCU's been in a two-deep, playing kind of a six-man box, and had success against the running game of West Virginia, and that doesn't bode well, so they finally were able to crack that. That should help get some extra defenders so they can throw the ball down the field a little bit better.
First down from the 42. Trickett to the air off play action. He's got Alford downfield. Finally brought down by Kevin White at the 30-yard line. A gain of 28. So the big plays coming from this West Virginia offense.
Boy, that was a nice setup by Dana Holgorsen and the offensive staff. Play action. TCU had to go with the seven-man box after the big running play. They're able to throw the ball over the backers into that seam.
This time it's Sims. He's got another hole, and there goes Charles Sims into the end zone for his 5th rushing touchdown of the season.
Same play they showed just a little while ago. They found a nice little wrinkle with a little edge outside running scheme to the tight end. Gonna see over here, block down, pull that guard around all the way outside, and no support player. Gary will get that handle on the sidelines, I'm sure. That's the first time they've seen those two types of plays in this game.
How about that? A 3-play, 87-yard drive. That screams vintage Dana Holgorsen. Point after good, 17-10. West Virginia cuts into this TCU lead, and Dana Holgorsen gets some positives.
Big for the confidence.
Out of this offense, yeah.
You got a team that's coming in here on a 3-game losing streak. You're on the road. You're on the loan last week. You needed something big to happen.
And they got 3 big plays on that last drive. It started with Sims. It ended with Sims.
You see that same play, pulling the guard around. TCU in a 2-deep look. Don't have a force player. Good adjustment coming off of that. And back to that same exact play going to the other side.
Sims in the ball game, 6 carries, 71 yards. 60 of those yards coming on that last drive. A transfer from Houston. Sims graduated in May, came to West Virginia in July. Dana Holgorsen called it a business decision. Holgorsen actually recruited Sims to Houston. Holgorsen was the offensive coordinator with the Cougars during Sims' freshman year in 2009.
Coach Levine in Houston putting up some big numbers. I'm not sure if they're missing him too much down there.
Wayman James with a good return. TCU 3 scoring drives in this first half. 223 total yards. Really a positive sign for this Horned Frogs offense, which hasn't had much to hang their collective heads on this season.
Running game got going a little bit better last drive. They were able to get a completed or an opportunity for a completion over the top on a big play. We'll see if they go back to that again.
Hall throws, juggled and caught by Brown, who picks up 6. It'll bring up 2nd down and 4.
Still 2 deep. Look from the West Virginia defense. They got a stop last time and were able to get them 3 and out. But they've been getting a few hits on Casey Paul Hall. See if they bring some pressure at some point in this drive.
Gets the 4-man rush. Nice tackle that time by the true freshman Darian Howard. It's a loss of 1. Howard hadn't played at all until last week, where West Virginia was forced to burn his red shirt late in the season. Played 15 snaps against Kansas State.
Good place to be in defensively. 3rd and 5. Wholesale changes in the defensive line for West Virginia.
safety deep. Paul Hall under pressure. Gets it to Slanina. And it looks like he picked up enough for the first down. It's a good spot.
Boy, Casey Paul Hall taking another hit, in and up on the ground and being able to deliver. This is what kind of separates, you know, the average quarterbacks from the good ones. The guys that can deliver get knocked around. You're a little bloodied, you're a little bruised, can keep your focus. That's impressive.
He's got to know that's coming, given the state of this TCU offensive line. Boykin near side, pushed out of bounds by Worley. A gain of 4. You do wonder, though, how many hits can he keep taking?
Well, he's got the big black pad on his left forearm. I'm sure he's got some other pads going on, but he's a tough kid. He's been through some mental battles and some physical battles, and his leadership showing here today.
That's one area where coaches say he has improved leaps and bounds. His leadership ability as Catalan goes wide. Again, the pressure. Paul Hall hit. It's a fumble, and it's recovered by West Virginia.
Rolling on the field is an incomplete pass.
Nope, it's an incomplete pass. Didn't initially blow the whistle.
Took another shot.
Arm was going forward.
Brandon Golson, number 2. They end up bringing 6. 6 rushers, and he gets there.
Arms going forward.
Yeah, I think that's a good call by the officials.
Yep.
All you
the
young
ruling on the previous play of an incomplete pass is under further review.
All you young quarterbacks out there, you want to play quarterback in college football, take a look at number 4, because he's showing you what it's all about.
It almost seems he's got that mindset going in. I know I'm going to get hit. I got to stand in there and almost absorb the punishment a little bit.
Well, we always talk about, I think the quarterback, you see right here, I think that arm is definitely going forward. I don't think they can overrule that. But that's why I'm up here and don't have a striped shirt on.
Of course, you want a guy watching.
Well, we always say I think the quarterback.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. 3rd down.
I think the quarterback's got to be the toughest guy out there. I just think between the physical punishment he takes and all the mental criticism, you know, you're getting the ball, everybody puts it on you whether the team wins or loses. He's going to be spending time in that cryogenic Austin Powers tube that
the
you were in yesterday.
cryosauna. Yes, the cryosauna.
He will be in there today if you're not in there. I know you enjoyed it yesterday.
It was fun. TCU's got a cryosauna on campus. Negative 240 degrees in there.
How cold was that?
It was cold. I wasn't wearing much either. Paul Hall throws. That ball is tipped and nearly intercepted. He wanted Boykin. K.J. Dillon, the sophomore from Apopka, Florida, on coverage.
Good job by Dillon. Here you go. They're bringing 6 rushers again. Trying to get to Casey. You see he's been bumped around plenty of times, even when he's getting the ball off. Throws this one for a touchdown, but he ends up with grass on his back. And they come after him again, and kind of thought they might, because you need to disrupt the offense a little bit somehow.
Ethan Perry gets the punt off. Jordan Thompson makes the catch. Did not signal fair catch. Tackled. No gain on a 39-yard punt. That cryosauna straight out of Austin Powers that Hawk was talking about. We'll show you what all that's about when we come back.
As they take on Michigan.
All right, thank you, Dari. We look forward to halftime. Still got 5:49 in the first half here. Vernon Davis into the game in the slot for West Virginia. Here's Sims out of the backfield. Slips one tackle, still on his feet, gets a first down and more, and he's down all the way to the 42-yard line, a gain of 16. Well, yesterday we got a trip through the Walsh complex here on TCU. That's the underwater treadmill they have. And before the break, Coach Hawkins alluded to the cryosauna. That's what it is. You got a tank of nitrogen gas. They put me inside. I got the full 3-minute treatment. You burn about 500 calories, but it's negative 240 degrees in there. Speaking of negative, Jordan Thompson goes the wrong way. There is a flag on the play.
not really the read you wanted. TCU dropped the safety down at the last second, and Clint got out of that run and ended up throwing the quick screen back into the boundary, and we're outnumbered.
Rick Lumiere is our head referee.
Illegal block in the back, number 62 of the offense. The foul will be declined. The down will count. It will be second down.
That's the right tackle, Curtis Fight. Now there's me again in the cryo sauna. Felt
Did
a
you
little
lose
like Austin
your
Powers.
mojo?
Tell you what, I lost something. It was negative 240 degrees in there. And all you're wearing are boxers, gloves, and socks.
That's a little bit too much more information than we need. That's neat to know this.
Just letting you know it's cold. Trick it to Wendell Smallwood. And he gets about 3. It'll bring up third down and long. Smallwood, a true freshman. Seen his playing time decrease after getting some more reps earlier in the season.
This is where it becomes a little bit tougher in a one-back set. Your third and long, being able to protect long enough to get the ball down. You can't typically take your 3-step drop and throw for a first down. Now you can throw it underneath and run for it.
Press coverage all the way on the West Virginia wideouts. Trickett steps up. Throws incomplete. He wanted Alford. Good coverage by Kevin White, the junior from Round Rock, Texas.
That's when you have a quarterback that can run and you're playing man under. There's really nobody on the quarterback and he can take off and scoot.
Looked like Trickett should have taken off and ran.
Yeah, that's not really his forte. I think it's better that he looks to throw the ball downfield. Now, I'm not saying he's slow, but to run the ball for 11, 12 yards and get a first down, probably not his forte there.
Eccles Looper waits for it, retreats to his 10-yard line, and he's spun down back near the 5-yard line. It's marked at the 7. It's a 49-yard punt, a loss of 3 on the return. Following our game on ESPNU at 7 Eastern, Pittsburgh visits Georgia Tech. Key game in the ACC. The Yellow Jackets looking for a 3rd straight win. Casey Paul on the offense, back out on the field. Paul in this first half, 16 of 23, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception.
See what the answer is here for the pressure that West Virginia has been bringing. They're crowding with 5 already. Here comes a 6th.
Brought the safety in Joseph. Some room for Jordan Moore. He picks up a first down for TCU, a gain of 16, and also some breathing room for the Horned Frogs offense.
Yeah, good crease. 2 defenders getting outside. West Virginia needed to get one more gap down inside to secure it all. Zone scheme got him.
Paul throws. He's got Boykin, and Boykin dropped the ball. Closing quickly on him that time, number 9, KJ Dillon.
Whoo, that was close. Now they're starting to jump those quick screens. Let's see if you got a little double pass up your sleeve or a little and go in your game plan. When they start jumping it like that, you usually have to have some kind of an answer. That's West Virginia really closing. Good job by TCU going with a double count here, changing the play, veteran quarterback. That's something West Virginia maybe hasn't been able to do.
Dillon showing blitz. Here he comes. Paul downfield for Brown. There's a flag on the play. Banks had his hand on Brown's jersey.
Nice adjustment by TCU staff and Casey Paul. That's the first time this game where West Virginia's really crowded the line of scrimmage. TCU was able to get into a
pass interference. Defense number 34. The foul will be enforced from the previous spot, 15 yards, first down.
Ishmael Banks flagged as he could not stay with Ladarius Brown and had to grab the jersey.
Boy, I don't know. Defensive coaches around the country are going, that's not right. Oh, that was a close one.
First penalty of the game for West Virginia. It gives TCU a first down at the 38-yard line. Again, pressure from West Virginia. Paul Hall over the middle, and that's caught. Cam White with the reception. A first down for the Horned Frogs, 17 yards on the play, and TCU into West Virginia territory.
That's what TCU couldn't get done last week against Texas. It's not the greatest throw. He gets it out, and then your receiver just goes and makes a play. And that's why you're on scholarship. It's not always going to be Velcroed between the numbers. Go make a play for your quarterback. He's toughing it out for you.
This is Catalan. Powers his way for what appears to be a TCU first down, and it is.
Had success with two backs in the backfield running that lead. Catalan does a nice job seeing it and bouncing it outside.
Catalan 15 yards away now from getting to 1,000 for his career. Penalty marker down.
Tell you, it's been fun in this game, seeing the coaching adjustments and the cat and mouse game going on.
False start. Number 75 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, and it is still first down.
Because West Virginia is starting to disguise and creep up and start bringing a little bit more pressure. TCU going with a double cadence or just hustling the line of scrimmage, looking what's going on, changing the play. A lot of good strategy on both sides happening.
Paul Hall throws incomplete, intended for Porter. 2nd and 15 as TCU creeping into the edge of their field goal range. That's the green line you see on your screen. Jaden Obercromb's got a big leg.
That's the same scheme that they were able to score on earlier in the first quarter with Josh Doxson in that inside slot position. It's tough. You run that inside fake, and that linebacker has to bite on it. He's put in a real bind, a conflict of assignment. He steps up. You throw it behind him. If he lays back, you hand it off and run it up his tailpipe.
Paul Hall hit again, wounded duck, and it lands incomplete.
Wounded duck, was that the ball or him? Well, Casey Paul Hall, who you referring to there?
Might work for both on that last play.
Yeah. Pressure. Clark is a very good player coming off the edge. He is the leading sacker for West Virginia. 8.5 sacks.
Coach, no sacks for West Virginia in this game, but Paul Hall's been hit unofficially 8 times and knocked down 6 times. That takes its toll.
That's why they have that cryo sauna in there.
You're just jealous you missed out.
If he can get in before you.
Another flag.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, and it is still third down.
All right, so now 3rd down and 20. You got a kicker who's got the leg where he can maybe drill one from 53, 54, 55. What's the call here?
Well, I don't think you don't want to be stupid, but I think you have an opportunity to throw the ball underneath and then maybe run for that mark where you can get not necessarily a first down, but pick up 10 yards and get yourself into field goal range.
This is the first timeout of the first half called by TCU. This timeout shall be 30 seconds.
Timeout TCU with 2:26 to go. Casey Paul Hall's had a pretty good first half. 17 of 27, 201 yards, a couple of touchdowns, but he has taken a beating back there.
He's throwing the ball, getting rid of it, but taking a lot of shots. Delivered on a touchdown there. That's tough right there when you get your arm up there. You end up having some shoulder issues, but certainly showing his toughness. That's why, by and large, they've tried to get rid of the ball early. TCU's O-line, not necessarily the kind of group that's going to hold up for a long time.
Only a two-man rush from West Virginia on 3rd and long, and that's incomplete. He tried to thread it to Deontay Gray in double coverage. So 4th and 20 coming up.
Well, you don't get the field goal, but you got an opportunity to punt the ball and get them backed up here. You got a few timeouts left, so you still can get back and in scoring position if you're able to get a 3 and out and use your timeouts.
Ethan Perry on to kick it away. Averaged 45 yards a punt last year, which was 2nd among freshmen. A little over 40 this year. That one bounces into the end zone, so that wasn't the plan. West Virginia will get it at the 20-yard line with 2:11 to go here in this first half. And TCU, after a good start, is now punted on 3 straight drives.
Good adjustment by West Virginia. They're starting to bring a little bit more pressure, heating it up a little bit, changing some of the looks. They're a little more generic in the first quarter to half. So good job by West Virginia changing it up.
And this will be a challenge for Clint Trickett. West Virginia probably looking to pick up the pace. That hasn't been where he's been most comfortable in the offense. He loses the football, tries to fall on it, and he does.
Yeah, that is frustrating right there. I mean, you're having enough struggles as it is, and you're snapping the ball and your quarterback's dropping it. Now, I know Clint's looking downfield, making sure he can see what's going on, but now you're 2nd and 15. That's tough.
And Dana Holgerson had the look on his face. Can't believe it, 2nd and long.
Yeah, but West Virginia has to be careful they don't at least get out of here with a punt.
Sims gets 4 of the yards back. It brings up 3rd and long. And TCU calls a timeout to stop the clock with 1:34.
It's the 2nd timeout of the first half called by TCU. Timeout will be for 30 seconds.
Yeah, good clock management by Coach Patterson there. Really with 1 timeout and 1:15, that's plenty of time. So you got a lot of time left on the clock. They get them out here, they're going to have good field position to start this next drive.
Both teams 3-5, 1-4 in conference play. Crucial game here on the first weekend of November for both these teams.
Yeah, you've got 3rd and 11 for West Virginia. You want Clint Trickett to be effective here, and I wouldn't be surprised if they run it. The last thing you want to do is throw an interception and put yourself really at risk at the end of this first half, which West Virginia done a nice job getting back into the game. You don't want to get yourself another 7 points down here.
Mountaineers 1 for 6 on 3rd down. Trickett throws, and that is caught by Mario Alford. Just took it away from Kevin White, and it's a first down for the Mountaineers.
Whew, he just stuck that one right in my ear. That was a great throw and a great catch.
Going quickly, high snap on the ground. Here's Sims. Crashes across the 40-yard line. He's to the 42, a gain of 5. Clock still running.
That was the same running play that Sims scored on earlier, but he cut it back.
Trickett, middle of the field, caught by Da'Keil Shorts. Tackled immediately by Chris Hackett. It's a gain of 16, and now West Virginia getting close to field goal range.
How about number 9 stepping up and delivering the ball in clutch moments right here? I think this is where him being a ball coach's son kind of pays off. I mean, a lot of ice water in his veins. I'm sure he doesn't get rattled by anything and able to the things slow down a little bit for him when it's a high tension period.
And up on 30 seconds, Trickett to the air. Intercepted by TCU. Jeff Hooker still on his feet, and he dives close to midfield. First pick of the season.
Was jumping on his bandwagon, he went and threw it into the teeth of the defense. Tuffy had a seam route going inside. Had a seam route coming inside. They were running in here. Free safety gets over the top and makes the play. TCU had been playing a lot of 2 deep, and I think he had the safety. He thought the safety was on the other hash, and he wasn't. He was sitting in the middle of the field.
TCU leads the Big 12 in interceptions since the start of last season. That was the 37th interception for this TCU defense. Only Oregon has more in the FBS. Paul Hall under pressure, and he's sacked by Golson at the 40-yard line, and that should take us to halftime. Not quite. Timeout TCU with 9 seconds to go.
Timeout of the half called by TCU. 30-second timeout.
Another hit. Golson and Clark are very formidable coming off the edge. Only a 3-man rush, and they still get there. That probably slowed up Casey a little bit because they haven't seen a lot of drop 8 in this entire game. So I think it's good by Gary Patterson taking the timeout right here. You might as well take a shot at a Hail Mary, see if you can't get something. Maybe you get a pass interference, get you closer to field goal range, or, you know, you hit the miracle ball. Casey's got strong enough arm to be able to get it done.
I got to go 59 yards, no timeouts left. 9 seconds to go. Paul Hall, despite taking some punishment back there, has put up pretty good numbers in the first half.
This is the second timeout of the half called by West Virginia.
And now West Virginia wants the timeout to talk things over. TCU on its very first offensive play intercepted. That led to a West Virginia field goal. But Casey Paul Hall then led the Horned Frogs to a couple of touchdown drives. 17 points in the first half for TCU represents a giant leap forward. They've been averaging less than 7 points in the first half this season. Charles Sims busted through for the lone West Virginia touchdown. And then with the Mountaineers driving moments ago, Jeff Hooker with his first pick of the season for TCU. And now the Horned Frogs looking to go 59 yards in 9 seconds. Probably just throw it up.
Yeah, we'll see. It's not your typical Hail Mary.
Only 2 down linemen that time for West Virginia. They'll rush 3. Paul Hall just slides down, and that will take us to halftime. Casey Paul Hall, second game back, first start since week 2 when he broke that left arm. 17 of 28, 201 yards, 2 TDs, and a pick. The Horned Frogs up by 7 as we go to the locker room. Time for us to send it to the studio in Charlotte and Dorinoka.
Anish, thank you very much. As you turn it over to us. You see what I did there? A game that's seen a few turnovers so far.
Here in Fort Worth, Texas, TCU leads West Virginia 17-10 as we get ready for the start of the second half. Anish Shroff alongside Dan Hawkins. You look at that first half for TCU at 1 point, 3 straight scoring drives. Then the offense went stale, and the quarterback, Casey Paul Hall, took a beating.
Yeah, well, West Virginia started heating them up a little bit, started bringing extra guys. They were getting hits with just 4, but the addition of 5 and 6 guys later in the second quarter limited the running game, and he got knocked around.
West Virginia will get the ball to start the second half as TCU gets ready to kick off. Both teams 3-5, 1-4 in conference. Both have to go 3-1 the rest of the way in order to become bowl eligible. And Wendell Smallwood tackled shy of the 15-yard line. Time now for today's Taco Bell game track. Casey Paul Hall, 201 yards, threw a couple of TDs, but as we said, knocked down 8 times. And then Charles Sims, 31-yard touchdown run. At over 60 yards rushing on 1 drive. Clint Trickett throwing a costly interception late in the first half with West Virginia driving.
But in general, Clint Trickett's doing a nice job driving the ball down the field. Other than those 2 big runs by Sims in the second quarter, not a lot of production consistently running the ball.
Here is Sims in the Houston transfer. Takes it to the 18-yard line, a gain of 4, tackled by Chris Hackett.
West Virginia had a chance to get some points there at the end of the second quarter. Unfortunately, Clint threw the ball into the free safety, but I thought he got some confidence on that last drive.
Sims again. And he powers his way for a first down, a gain of 7. Charles Sims closing in on his third 100-yard rushing game of the season.
Really a talented player. He can run with some power, has got good speed, good vision, obviously catches the ball well, can do a lot of things really, really well.
Dana Holgorsen said he does more than any running back in the country when you think about his role in this offense. By far the best player on offense that West Virginia has this season. This is Dreamus Smith, native of Wichita, Kansas. That's how he got the nickname Toto, and Toto lost a couple of yards.
Good little wrinkle, first time we saw that formation this game, trying to run a little outside zone play out of the full house backfield. But again, Gary Patterson's defense just so adept at adjusting to every formation they see in motion. They really attack plays, not just formations.
Trickett going downfield, incomplete. Kevin White, the intended receiver, he was double covered, and one of the guys covering him, number 2 in black and purple, the All-American corner, Jason Verrett, who's basically taken away White for most of this game.
Yeah, they've had very little success, and rightly so, have not even tried out there that much. With that little fly sweep motion, TCU kind of rolling the safety down and back into a 3-deep coverage. Good adjustment by West Virginia, and smart by Clint to throw it over the top, otherwise it would have been picked.
On the delay, some room for Sims. Charles Sims with a first down, takes it to the 40-yard line, a gain of 17 yards, brought down by Olabode.
Really nice job on the draw play. And as you mentioned, it was more of a delayed draw play. TCU run a little cross stunt with the tackles and got a little bit too wide, and Gary will lecture them on what we call rushing the dots, meaning equal spacing around the quarterback and take away lanes.
Here's Smallwood into the game for Sims, breaks a tackle across the 45-yard line. There is a penalty marker, an 8-yard play if it stands.
Holding number 76 of the offense. Penalty will be 10 yards from the previous spot. Remains first down.
That's Pat Egger. Right now there's an injured TCU player on the field, and that is Elisha Olabode, the senior free safety. One of the better safeties in the Big 12. 4 picks last year, 50 tackles entering today. And he's one of just 3 senior starters on that TCU defense.
Jeff Hooker back in the game, who got the interception at the end. Looks like he's okay into the second quarter there. Hooker, a former walk-on who earned a scholarship recently.
In the middle of the season, you don't hear that happening too often. Dana Holgorsen, I think he got some Red Bull during halftime. He's not subtle, is he?
He was not in the cryosauna. He wears his heart on his sleeve, trying to get some things going. Obviously, that's a huge, huge penalty. Egger got hurt last week. That kind of hurt him at the center spot. It was good to get him back.
Smallwood broke the initial tackle. Finally brought down after a pickup of 4. Hackett in on the stop along with Jonathan Anderson.
Offensively, no one, or I shouldn't say very few, can survive a 1st and 25, and I think with the offensive woes this year of West Virginia, it's tougher on them for sure.
Trickett over the middle and through the hands of Jordan Thompson. They'll bring up 3rd and long. That one a little too high for Thompson, who's only 5'7".
Well, it's easy to see from up here, but there was a linebacker underneath there, and Clint had to throw a little higher maybe than he wanted, otherwise it would have been intercepted. They've had good success with that play action and throwing it into the soft spot of the seam.
3rd and long. West Virginia going to work against the TCU defense that leads the conference in sacks and interceptions. Trickett into coverage. Shorts had it, couldn't hold on. I'm not sure how that got through all the purple.
Wow. Threaded the needle. He's got some confidence on that throws and those throws, and he gets it out early. But got to be able to make that. Nice job looking right. Woo. Hey, that's one of those, you know, if you do it and it makes it, you're right. If it doesn't, you're wrong.
Nick O'Toole on to punt. Boomstash enjoying his favorite month of the year. Eccles looper hit right as he catches it. Not much of a return. A 48-yard punt. KC Paul Hall and TCU get their first turn on offense in the second half when we return. For TCU quarterback KC Paul Hall, this is his second game back after missing 5 with a broken left arm. 201 yards passing in that first half. TCU's season high for pass yards in a game this season. Southeast Louisiana, week 2, September 7th. That was the game where Paul Hall got hurt.
Taking about 1 hit for every 20 yards he gets. They need to eliminate some of those pops in this half.
He finds Trevon Boykin, who filled in at quarterback while Paul Hall was injured, and Boykin picks up a first down, a gain of 12, and that's now 5 catches for Boykin on the day. He had 4 on the season coming into today. Boykin stays in the game, lined up in the slot, bottom of your screen. Quarterback to quarterback again as Boykin gets across midfield and into West Virginia territory, a gain of 22.
KC Paul Hall showing a lot of confidence and poise there. Got a first down, trying to go fast, hurrying up again.
Boykin out, Ty Slanina, the speedy freshman, in. Here's Doxson. He had a touchdown in the first half. Wrestled out of bounds by Darwin Cook. Doxson marked out at the 41-yard line. It's a pickup of 6.
More importantly, TCU doing a good job of eliminating some hits. He's getting the ball out of his hands pretty quickly.
Same play.
Tell you, in modern football, that quick screen, bob screen, wide screen out there has really made tacklers or attempted tacklers out of these corners. They can't just be cover guys. They need to be able to come up and make some plays. West Virginia at times. Now here comes KC Paul Hall out of the game. Boykin going to line up at quarterback.
Boykin can run. In fact, he has TCU's only 100-yard rushing game of the season. On 3rd and short, Boykin picks up the first down, moves the chains.
TCU doing a nice job shifting the tight end and the H-back over and got an extra gap. And I think if Boykin would have bounced that just a little farther outside, he'd have creased.
Who does he remind you of? Little Randall L. Cordell, maybe?
I don't know. Those guys.
Not on that level as a passer, but in terms of versatility.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Aaron Green for a yard.
Cordell Stewart, bigger guy. Randall L, a little smaller. Yeah, maybe. You know what's great? You know what is great to have that kind of mentality on your team, though, that you have guys who are willing to do that, and you start dealing with a bunch of egos about I play this position and I don't want to share time, and that's what leads to a losing football team.
Paul Hall's pass nearly intercepted by Darwin Cook. He almost had his 5th pick of the year, and Cook knows he should have had it.
Yeah, he got lucky there, and I think Casey turned his hand over, his right hand over, and was kind of grabbing his thumb there a little bit. I think he hit it on the back of his own player's helmet. Looked like me out there trying to catch that ball. Yeah, he did. Popped it right on the back of the helmet. Boy, I'll tell you, you got to be careful. You end up having a fractured thumb. And of course, they bring Boykin back in.
Paul Hall still in the game. He split wide as a wide receiver. Empty set for Boykin. Boykin, he gets popped by Kwiatkowski. And it's 4th down And a decision here for Gary Patterson, given where the ball is. At the 34-yard line, it's about a 51-yard attempt. Overchrome does come out for the kick. He's got a big leg. His career long 53 yards. Actually, it's not Overchrome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's the punter, Ethan Perry, in the game.
Here's the defensive coordinator coming out here where let's punt the ball, play for a little field position. He knows the odds of them scoring a touchdown from 20 or 80 yards away is not going to happen.
West Virginia football, 8:43 to go in the third. If they finish the year tied, Kenseth would win the Spring Cup because he has more wins. West Virginia begins from its own 13. Second possession of the third quarter. Off play action, Trickett in trouble, sacked by the safety, Sam Carter.
Good call by Gary Patterson, bringing the safety off the edge. Have not brought a lot of pressure. See right there, crowd the line of scrimmage. Good call. Haven't seen that too much, particularly on first down today for West Virginia.
Patterson praised Carter when we spoke to him yesterday, a kid who came to college as a quarterback. And Patterson said he still studies film like a quarterback. Play action. Trickett underneath to Shorts. And there's Sam Carter again on the stop after a gain of 12. It brings up 3rd and 7.
Really good recognition by Clint and Shorts. A little option route. Got in a single high look, had one-on-one down there, a little push in, work back outside. Unfortunately, when you've got second forever, it's tough. And again, you have to be careful right down here. You're still a 7-point game. Don't put your defense in a bad spot.
Mountaineers 3 of 9 on 3rd down. We'll keep it on the ground, and it's Sims. There is a flag on the play.
Good pressure again, same blitz they ran on first down. This time it came from the right-hand side. I think it's in that category of holding, maybe.
Personal foul with hands to the face. Number 47 of the defense. 15-yard penalty would be added to where the play ended. First down.
That's Paul Dawson, who's starting at middle linebacker.
Right in here.
Right there.
Yeah, that's a good call by the officials. Good call. Boy, you don't normally see that in there, but good job by the umpire. Get a lot of heat when they don't make them right, but that was a great call.
So West Virginia gets a first down thanks to the penalty. Wendell Smallwood across the 40. Spun down at the 44-yard line. It's a gain of 9 for Smallwood. 2nd and short.
Going back to that stretch play out of that full house that they tried to get to earlier. They had a little more success this time.
Marcus Mallett, one of the linebackers, down for TCU. And as good as TCU is on defense, that linebacker position this year hasn't been what it's been recently. There's no Kenny Kane back there, no Darrell Washington back there. It was one of the question marks heading into the season, and the guys who filled that role, they've been solid, but nothing like TCU has had in the past.
We got a shoulder injury there.
Following our game on ESPNU, Pittsburgh takes on Georgia Tech, 7 Eastern. Georgia Tech looking to make it 3 straight wins. Tom Savage having a pretty good season at quarterback for the Panthers. Dreamus Smith tripped up in the backfield. And there's Paul Dawson with a bit of redemption, but another flag at the end of the play.
Really nice recognition. A little different formation there. 2 tight ends. 3 backs in the backfield, something you don't see a lot of West Virginia, but good job by TCU recognizing. And again, Gary Patterson getting those guys adjusting to the formation and the play.
After the play was over, personal foul, number 42 of the offense. The penalty would be 15 yards from where the play ended. The down did count, so it'll be 3rd down.
That's on Garrett Hope, and that penalty hurts.
Both these teams in general have done a pretty good job this game of avoiding a bunch of penalties, and they're showing up here in the 3rd quarter. Dana Holgorsen with his game plan on a pretty small piece of paper. Sometimes I think his predecessor is a mentor. Mike Leach has it on a napkin, but
Trickett on third down. That's intercepted by Hackett. There is a flag on the play. Hackett takes it into the end zone for a touchdown.
TCU rotated down. Sam Carter rotated.
Holding number 2 of the defense on an eligible receiver. The penalty is 10 yards from the previous spot, and it'll be a first down.
A rare mistake by the All-American and Thorpe Award semifinalist Jason Verrett.
Doesn't happen very often, and certainly he's kind of got the skill. He doesn't have to do that, but sometimes that happens. Now you're going to see we're going to rotate down inside. Clint doesn't quite see that.
This is the first time out of the second half called by West Virginia.
Timeout by Dana Holgorsen with 6:11 to go in the third, and he's upset with his quarterback, Clint Trickett.
Well, he's probably upset again. Quarterbacks sometimes get it in their mind. I'm going there. They see the snap, or they see the pre-snap look, and you just ignore what your eyes should be looking at. And clearly they rotated down. He should have seen it, and he didn't. Here you're seeing right here, Jason Verrett right there. Boy, I don't know. It's tough. Yeah. And it actually was Chris Hackett, yeah, that rolled down in there.
It's a mulligan for this West Virginia offense. 1st and 10. Ball at the 37. They give it to Sims. He gets 3. 2nd down and 7. You hear some of the words the coaches and players use to kind of describe what's going on offensively at West Virginia after last week's loss to K-State. Clint Trickett said his frustration level is high. Holgorsen has used words like disturbing. Offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson has said a complete non-execution of routine plays. There's no Geno Smith, no Stedman Bailey, no Tavon Austin this year.
Is that the censored versions of the
media-friendly versions? Sims tackled by Hooker. And how about the former walkout who's made a couple of big plays in this game? He had an interception late in the first half.
Jeff Hooker just running right downhill, making that play. Now, both defenses are crowding the line of scrimmage a little bit. Let's see if Coach Holgorsen doesn't want to line it up. This is that big play they had earlier in the second quarter that Sims was so successful at. But TCU rolling the coverage prevented.
Trickett downfield again for White. And Jason Verrett was covering him. And Kevin White, who's become one of the go-to guys in the receiving game for West Virginia the last few games, has had little space against Verrett.
That's what Dana's saying right there. There was the shot. I thought they probably would take a shot. We'll see if TCU takes one on offense too, because both defenses are starting to crowd the line of scrimmage a little bit more in the second half.
O'Toole punts it away. Here's Eccles Looper inside his own 15, and he gets it to the 15-yard line. TCU led 17-10 at the half. That score still stands. Both West Virginia and TCU need to go 3-1 in November to become bowl eligible. Both have 2 should-win games on their schedule, 1 reach game, and that essentially makes this game the swing game.
Definitely big. See Paul Millard over there. He was on the bike just a little while ago, so you wonder if the frustration of Dana Holgorsen is going to lead to a quarterback change.
Safety blitz by West Virginia. It's a run play. And a nice pickup there on first down by B.J. Catalan. We check in with Dari.
Guys, time for Sports Center right now, presented by Cabela's, Kansas and Texas. Jake Heaps, hit by Cedric Reed, fumbles. Chris Whaley scoops and scores. Remember, he had the pick six against Oklahoma. 2 touchdowns for Whaley, 21-6. Hook 'em horns, guys.
All right, thank you, Dari. 2nd and 7. TCU coming up on 4 minutes to play here in the third. Paul Hall finds David Porter. And Porter with a first down, tackled by the sophomore Carl Joseph. Porter's the only TCU wide receiver this year with a 100-yard game. Did it against Kansas back on October 12th.
West Virginia brought K.J. Dillon off the edge. He elected to take a shot on Casey Paul Hall. Maybe could have jumped up and batted the ball.
Back to the air. Paul Hall completes. And that's a gain of 4. It's Boykin again. Good catch for Trevon Boykin. That's 7 catches now for number 2. Boykin's a guy that'll line up all over the field. He was the quarterback when Paul Hall was out with that broken arm, and moving back to wide receiver. Playing pretty well today. Aaron Green into the game as running back. Pressure off the edge. Paul Hall gets rid of it. Finds Porter again. Joseph there on the stop. And Paul Hall down at about the 22-yard line and slow to get up.
Boy, he is one tough kid. They've had success out of that formation. Faking the inside run, but they're bringing pressure, so he pulls it and pays for it.
A.J. Dillon with the hit that time. The reception good enough for a first down.
Impressive outing by Casey Paul Hall, not only in his efficiency in throwing, but his toughness.
Low snap. Paul Hall under pressure, and he's sacked. Noble Wachachukwu.
Good job on the name. Pressure inside. Comes off the right side. Guard was kicking outside. Eric Tosh was kicking outside. Should have stayed inside. Came unblocked.
Wachachukwu from Wiley, Texas, which is a little more than an hour from Fort Worth.
A lot of players within an hour of Fort Worth.
Yeah. Again, pressure, little screen pass. Here's Catalan. Chased by Kwiatkowski, tackled by Joseph after a gain of 6. And it's 3rd and long for TCU. And after that promising start early in the game when TCU had 3 straight scoring drives, they've struggled here to move the ball against this West Virginia defense.
Very little running game, and the pressure of West Virginia has really allowed them to get to Casey Paul Hall and limit some of those bigger plays.
Paul Hall 269 yards passing. That's a season best in terms of pass yards for TCU. Again, pressure off the edge from Dillon. It's caught by Brown using the stiff arm and tackled by Travis Bell, shy of the first down marker. So it's 4th down, and here comes Perry to punt it away.
Yeah, good job by West Virginia bringing pressure. Casey had no choice but to go out there, and on first down, that's fine. But when it's 3rd and long, you throw the ball short, and West Virginia did a good job tackling. Just not able to really max up, take a deeper drop, and either throw a double move ball or double cut down the field.
Jordan Thompson waiting for this one. Fair catch signal. Makes it at the 11-yard line, a 46-yard punt.
Casey Paul Hall really showing his toughness, making a couple of touchdown throws, but taking a lot of hits after those touchdowns, and then on nearly every completion, he's getting popped as well, and not a lot of sacks. There's one right there, but certainly a lot of knockdowns. Been impressed with the punters in this game, Anish. Both of them keeping the offenses backed up, and anytime you get back down there on 10-yard line, you got to go 90 yards. That's tough on an offense.
Final 24 seconds of the 3rd quarter. Intercepted. That's Dawson. Tackled inside the 5-yard line, and TCU set up thanks to its defense.
That's the formula for Gary Patterson's ball club. Again, they just do such a nice job of defending plays. They're in quarters coverage. Good job dropping back. Didn't honor the play action pass that time. And Clint Trickett knew it.
Trickett got away with one on West Virginia's last possession when Chris Hackett had an interception that was actually called back because of a penalty. But that time, Paul Dawson makes him pay. Boykin in at quarterback, 1st and goal from the 2. Boykin trying to get to the outside. And he lost a couple of yards, and it looks like he lost the football.
Getting back to that same power play they ran in short yardage before. West Virginia did a good job adjusting.
West Virginia gets it back.
Rolling on the field is a fumble with a recovery by the defense. 1st down.
Well, Clint Trickett dodges a bullet. Ball was recovered by Jared Baker in there.
Looked like the ball got out well before the knee went out when he went down.
Of course, the fumbles have been more backed up for TCU, but again, this is the thing that's been really hurting their ball club this year. And it's one thing to not be very effective, but when you put the ball on the ground, you turn it over, it's tough on your defense.
Sims right back to the line of scrimmage, and that takes us to the 4th quarter. Nobody scored in that 3rd quarter. Both teams trading turnovers. And the final 25 seconds of that 3rd. We go to the 4th. It's a 1-touchdown game in Fort Worth. Start of the 4th quarter here at Amon Carter Stadium, 17-10, TCU. The legendary Arkansas head coach Frank Broyles used to have a saying, they always remember what you do in November. Both these teams need a November to remember. Otherwise, they're not going to have a postseason game or a bowl game.
Got to finish. You have to finish, and you have to wonder if the opportunities that keep escaping TCU come back to haunt you, even though West Virginia is backed up.
2nd and 10, Mountaineers from their own 3. Here's Sims, brought down by Terrell Lathan. He gets to the 5, and a big 3rd down now for West Virginia. Coach, you talked about the punting before we went to break. Field position could be critical in this 4th quarter.
Yeah, it seems like they've been playing ping pong here a little bit, and as soon as one punter hits it, or you've got to punt from way deep in your own territory now. TCU elected to play coverage on that last play. See if Gary wants to blitz him and see if he can get a turnover down here. Looks like not.
Trickett's thrown 2 interceptions in the game. And that one broken up by Jason Verrett, and now a flag at the end of the play. Verrett was whistled for a costly hold in the 3rd quarter. That negated a TCU interception that was returned for a TD.
Interference, defense number 2. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul, and it'll be 1st down.
Sure had a couple of big plays. Hard to tell. We can't really see that right hand if it's holding on the back. Ooh.
I don't know,
Boy,
Coach.
I don't know. Now again, that right hand might have had him hooked. The official was over there, had a great look at it.
Sims got a yard. 2nd down.
Game's got a lot of intrigue to it. Last year, overtime, comeback win by TCU. And as we mentioned before, the season hanging in the balance. One of these teams needs a big win to finish. Try to finish the season, get bowl eligible.
Yeah, TCU tied last year's game on a 94-yard touchdown catch by Josh Boyce late in the fourth quarter. Trickett throws on the run. Shorts diving for it. He's got it right at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, it was offsides on Jason Verrett. They were bringing the corner blitz, and he anticipated the snap, got offsides a little early.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch. We also had an offside violation, number 2 of the defense. That foul will be declined. First down.
Tough second half for Verrett.
Yeah, you know, it's hard sometimes. You're such a great player and you don't get as much action as you normally would. Well, you got to give to Clint Trickett. He's making some plays now. Good job getting out, eyes down the field. That's a good call.
Trickett going downfield. And it's caught by Da'Keil Shorts. West Virginia in business.
Oh, I was just saying, boy, when you can't knock the door down, the door knocks you down, and sometimes that happens. And Clint Trickett, West Virginia, boy, you got to give number 9 some credit now. This kid he's playing some football. That was a great throw, good read. We've mentioned he's a good anticipator, and he's showing some accuracy here today that he hasn't displayed in the other games.
38 yards to the true freshman Shorts. Smallwood goes wide. He gets it, and he's taken down by the ankles. And on the tackle that time, Sam Carter. Short gain.
I think you might be just in 4-down territory right now. You haven't had a lot of opportunities to score. You might just make a decision right now. We got 3 downs to get a first down. A lot of time left in the game, but given where the field position's been, you probably try to get 7 out of this trip.
Sims 121 rush yards in the backfield. Trickett throws over the middle, incomplete. Rare target that time to the tight end, Cody Clay. Clay really a jack of all. Tight end, H-back, receiver.
Thought we might see a running play there. Just a second down and go 3 downs. Try to give Sims an opportunity to get some things done for you down here in the red area.
Mountaineers 3 of 11 on 3rd down. Trickett's pass nearly picked off. Sam Carter almost had it, and boy, he had a lane all the way to the other end zone.
Yeah, it just seems like Clint sometimes just has a hard time gauging TCU playing 4-on-3 over there and just not seeing the defender coming out of the inside part of the field.
Josh Lambert in to attempt a 42-yard field goal. Ten of 11 inside 50 yards this season. And the redshirt freshman from Garland, Texas makes it a 4-point game. Dana Holgerson's team comes away with 3. They're still down 4.
ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week. Brought to you by Allstate Insurance, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands?
TCU has been to a bowl game 8 straight seasons. Gary Patterson's team clinging to a 4-point lead. The Horned Frogs scored on 3 of their first 4 possessions. Have not scored since. 7 straight possessions without a point. They'll get the ball here, and you look at what's happened since those first 4 drives. 34 plays, 131 yards. That's 4 yards a pop, pedestrian.
Yeah, they had the big throw to Josh Doxson in the first half, which really keyed the 1 touchdown drive. And they've tried to throw the ball deep a little bit, but unable to hit it. Here's
Catalan. Catalan burst of speed, and he's across the 30, backpedaling and out of bounds as he crosses the 35-yard line. Last time TCU had the football, turnovers cost them. They got the big turnover. Paul Dawson's interception set up a 1st and goal inside the 5. The very next play, Trevon Boykin fumbled the football. West Virginia recovered. Mountaineers drive down, end up getting 3 points.
High and tight. 5 points of contact, especially down there in the red zone. Every coach went in trouble double. See if TCU can get a little bit of running game going to help Casey out.
Ball haul to the air, throws it in traffic. Ishmael Banks with a spectacular pick.
Got a penalty back here. Might be roughing the quarterback or a holding. Looks like it's a penalty marker. TCU.
And it's mine. We got a holding foul, number 69 of the offense. The foul will be declined. The ball was intercepted. It will be a 1st down.
Avion Collins called for the penalty, but Ishmael Banks, you talk about a kid who wants some redemption in this game. Huge interception for West Virginia.
Yeah, Casey just not really seeing that, trying to fit it into a hole. Again, both these coaches getting upset at quarterbacks when your eyes, you're trying to disregard what your eyes are seeing.
In the game against TCU last year, Banks was responsible for giving up a 94-yard touchdown reception, which tied the game late in the 4th quarter. Banks thought West Virginia was in man. They were in zone, and Josh Boyce ended up going the distance. TCU would win in double overtime. Off the turnover, first play. That's DeMario Alford makes the catch. Tackled by Kevin White. And on one play, West Virginia into TCU territory.
They've been money throwing that bang post on the backside underneath the safety. Good rhythm by Clint Trickett. Throwing the thing on time into a spot.
3rd catch for Alford, started in place of the suspended Ronald Carswell. Trickett flushed. That's to Thompson, and that's a catch inside the 30-yard line to the 28, a gain of 11, a 1st down.
Hole number 9. Clint Trickett showing up here, a little savvy. His dad, the old line coach for Florida State. Of course, he left Florida State when famous Jameis Winston came in. Hopefully his dad's in the locker room watching this ball game. I think Clint's showing a little moxie down the stretch.
Trickett. That time he finds Dreamus Smith, and Smith gets a couple brought down by White.
Well, you wonder, Sims is such a big part of this offense. We haven't seen him much. Not feed the ball to him. You wonder if he's dinged or if there's some issues, because he's been a workhorse for him. We just haven't seen him that much.
Same look again with trips right here on 2nd down. Dreamus Smith, JUCO transfer of Butler Community College, picks up 6, and it'll bring up 3rd down and short.
Really good chess match going on between these two coaches. Just watching the adjustments, and then you've got 2 head coaches. You know, Dana's running the air offense, and Gary Patterson's running the TCU defense. 2 experienced quality coaches doing a great job of chess match.
Takeel Shorts back in the game on 3rd down. TCU brings pressure. Trickett chased, finds Smith. He's got a 1st down inside the 15-yard line on a 1st down for the Mountaineers, a gain of 10.
Well, some of those adjectives that the West Virginia coaches used to describe the offense, Clint going play action, he sees it, buys himself enough time, eyes downfield, finds his check down route. Number 9 get a little redemption this week for West Virginia.
Dana Holgorsen said his command of the offense was improving. We're seeing it on this drive. And There's Dreamus Smith again. He got 3. It'll bring up 2nd and 7. Jonathan Anderson with the tackle.
Gotta wonder if Sims is dinged up. You certainly would think he'd be in here at this point with his ability to run the ball and what he gives them out of the backfield.
They'll fake it to Sims, rather Smith. Here's Cody Clay. Touchdown. And West Virginia's got the lead with 8:55 to go in the 4th.
Running the naked bootleg. First time today. Obviously, we talked about before, the tight end not a huge.
That looks like a touchdown. The hand, the palm of the hand can hit the ground.
The hand was good. I was looking a little bit at the right knee, but I think it is in there.
Didn't see an elbow. Didn't see an elbow go down.
The ruling on the field of a touchdown is under further review.
It would be Clay's first touchdown of the season.
Our referee's got the best voice of most referees. Have you noticed that? He's got a good little swagger to him right there.
He does.
I think they'll keep this one a touchdown. Just Denise, watch the knee and see if the knee the right knee. No, I think he's over.
I think he's in.
Yep.
Right hand goes down. That's allowed as long as that hand's not out of bounds.
Yeah. That was a heck of an athletic move. Get that ball in there.
Hand is good.
Good play call by Dana. First time they've used it today. Again, not throwing the ball a bunch to the tight end. Everybody in America running a ton of naked because they use the tight end a bunch, but not necessarily West Virginia.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
There you go.
Well, Coach, we were looking for a spark from Clint Trickett. This is his 5th start in the 4th quarter. 8 of 10, 106. And the touchdown pass we just saw to Cody Clay.
Yeah, and really in a lot of those plays, Anish, you know, he had to use his feet a little bit, had to get his eyes. It wasn't all just really clean. He kind of had to do some stuff to deliver the football.
And that's something that they've worked on with him. Going through progressions, making reads. Big point after here by Lambert. That kick is good. The Mountaineers have scored 13 points off of TCU turnovers. Ishmael Banks, the great pick. Cody Clay, the payoff. Every coach will tell you turnovers and winning the turnover battle are keys to the game. TCU has turned it over 3 times. That interception early in the game led to a field goal. A fumble led to a field goal, and this Ishmael Banks interception led to this touchdown. 13 points off of turnovers for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, and the brutal one was the one turnover cost you 7 points and ended up giving them 3. That was a 10-point turnaround.
Now TCU has got to get its offense out of neutral. The Horned Frogs haven't scored since the 12-10 mark of the 2nd quarter.
They kind of switched it up. They've been dormant in the first half. This time they decided to go dormant in the second half.
Catalan tackled well shy of the 20-yard line. TCU, long way to go against a West Virginia defense that's been pretty good in the second half.
Denzel Johnson, number 30, making the tackle there. That guy's been Arnott. He's been a demon on special teams now. They better get him blocked. He's been in on the play every single time.
TCU in danger of losing 3 in a row. That has not happened under Gary Patterson in Fort Worth.
A lot of ball to be played.
Catalan's pass caught by Dotson. 7th catch of the game by the Wyoming transfer. It's a gain of 4.
Need to get back in rhythm, get back into some of those play action plays where he's able to read it and or pull it, throwing the ball on time and with rhythm.
Ball pumps, throws, and that's batted down. Carl Joseph, the true sophomore, flew in there.
Wow, what a great read. Just dodged a bullet right there. I was just going to say West Virginia had some success with pressure. They brought it off the edge there. That time they made Casey pause just a hair. He needs to throw that ball on time or send it out of bounds.
We talked about at the top of our broadcast, West Virginia has struggled closing out games. Up by 3, 8:10 to go. Last week, Kansas State scored 28 unanswered in the second half against West Virginia. The week before, Texas Tech, 21 in a row.
This is the first time out of the second half called by TCU.
TCU calls timeout. Big 3rd and 6 for the Horned Frogs. They're now down 3. Thursday night on ESPN. How about this one? Oregon, currently in that championship Polaroid, number 2 in the BCS standings. Stanford, the highest ranked one-loss team at number 5. That's part of maybe the greatest Thursday in the history of college football. You got Oregon, Stanford, and Baylor, Oklahoma on the same night.
What do you think? You like Oregon or Stanford in that game?
Boy, I don't know. 3rd and 6, Paul Hall in trouble. He lost the football, and West Virginia has got it. The 3rd turnover for TCU in its last 12 plays.
That's where you need to have a little bit of pocket presence, and God bless Casey. I mean, he's taking some shots.
Quarterback recovered by the defense for a first down.
Darwin Cook recovered it.
Yeah, you just got to have a little pocket presence there, know the situation of the game, throw that thing away, Casey. Now, the other thing is West Virginia used a little pocket movement the last drive. We've not seen TCU move Casey Pahal. Not a lot of West Virginia fans here, but the ones that are here are fired up.
The freshman Marvin Gross forced the fumble, and now West Virginia with a chance to go ahead by 2 scores if they can get 6. From the 17, Trickett wanted 6, incomplete, intended to DeKeel Shorts.
Ooh, he was double covered, but boy, he threw a nice ball. He threw it where only his guy could get it. Shorts got there great. Again, the thing I liked about Clint, he's throwing the ball on time and throwing it to an open spot. If his guy can get it, fine. Now we see Sims back in the game. You'd think he'd get a few touches down here. I thought maybe they're going to throw him the ball out in the flat, and that last one be elected not to.
They got that diamond formation. Smith the deep back. Sims and Clay flank Trickett. And Sims in motion. And here is Charles Sims. And he gets 5. It'll bring up 3rd and 5. Sims 126 yards on the day. That is a season high.
You know, you've got a 1-score lead if you're West Virginia right now. You're up by 3. You play for the field goal where you're still only 1 score away. Still a lot of time on the clock. You're probably thinking field goal at this point. See how close you get on this play.
Remember, TCU hasn't scored since early in the second quarter. Here's Sims out of the backfield. He's got some room down that sideline. Reaches. Touchdown, West Virginia. Charles Sims.
Nice little comeback play. The same formation, same motion. Get it to your playmaker in space. Gary got out leverage there. His defenses Usually so good at adjusting to every formation and every play. Got it on the pylon. That is a touchdown.
150 total yards on offense for Sims, the team's leading rusher, and he also came into the game leading the team in receptions. Point after is good, and now TCU has its work cut out. Some fans headed to the exits. It's a 10-point game. TCU needs 2 scores. They haven't scored since 12-10 in the second quarter. Another turnover. Again, it leads to 6 for the Mountaineers. TCU led 17-3 at one point, 24 unanswered for West Virginia. 17 of those points coming on 3 TCU turnovers. The Horned Frogs turning it over on 3 of their last 5 plays.
There's so many tipping points that happen in a game, and the fumble by Boykin after the interception was a big momentum crusher for TCU.
Catalan out across the 25-yard line, and turnovers have been the story here in the second half. There's the Boykin fumble when TCU had a chance to punch it in for 6. Ishmael Banks, the interception for West Virginia, that led to a touchdown. Paul Hall fumbles. And Charles Sims with a touchdown reception, his second touchdown of the game. He had one rushing in the first half.
And it's tough because Casey's played a great game and showed a whole bunch of toughness, but you got to be smart. Both of those were on him. He forced the ball in there, then you got to throw the ball on time, not hang on to it. You know the pocket's collapsing.
Pendulum is swung here. Darwin Cook tried to rip it away from the receiver. Boykin picks up 8 yards, second down and 2, and TCU needs points on this drive. They haven't scored again since early in the second quarter.
Now they need points, but I mean, there's plenty of time. They've got 2 timeouts. Be smart.
Here's David Porter, makes the catch, turns upfield, and he's got a first down for the Horned Frogs. Carl Joseph made the tackle.
It's one of the benefits of the teams that run no huddle all the time. It's just what they do. So you don't technically have to take a lot of time to score. You're used to going fast and using that clock.
4-man rush. Paul Hall underneath to Brown. Darwin Cook was spinning him around. It's a gain of 5 as the whistle blows.
A little bit of pressure early on for West Virginia. Opted to drop back and play too deep there. They've had a little more success with the pressure than playing off, but you don't want to.
Here's the blitz. Paul Hall gets rid of it. Jordan Moore across midfield, using his blocker, still on his feet. And he gets to the 37-yard line of West Virginia. It's an 18-yard pickup by Jordan Moore, the sophomore from Atlanta.
Good call. Got a little pressure coming off the TCU left side and screening that way. Probably should have had more than that. They had a couple blockers out there and got a little tight to his offensive lineman. Needed to stay back a little bit and use that block.
Paul Hall throws it away. Closest receiver was Doxson at 2nd and 10.
There you go, Casey. That's what you want to do. Throw the ball on time. Don't like it. Get it out.
Brandon Golson down on the field for West Virginia. He's their dynamic linebacker.
Yeah, he would be a loss. Golson done a nice job collapsing the pocket and really skinning the edge. Between he and Clark, they've done a great job getting up the field, even when they just rush 4 guys, or as happened in the end of the first half, 3.
Golson's been a playmaker, tied for 3rd in the FBS with 4 forced fumbles. Had his 4th sack of the year earlier in this game.
He's got some kind of leg issue.
It's weird, Hawk. We talked earlier in the game. TCU struggling at the onset of games. West Virginia struggling late in games. And what's happened today? TCU got off to the fast start. They've been unable to punctuate. West Virginia got off to the slow start, and they've been better in the second half. Go figure.
That's because you jinxed him with the whole Frankenstein thing. When you came with the Frankenstein, then it just The old Halloween threw everything into a confluxion.
I jinxed it.
Yep. You and the cryo sauna.
You're just jealous you didn't go in.
I know. TCU in field goal range. Casey needs to be aware of that, not take a sack.
Another blitz. Wayman James stumbling. And he gets down. He's going to be close to a first down, a couple of yards away. It'll bring up third down. He's about 3.5.
TCU hasn't been screening a lot, but a good adjustment to the pressure they're seeing from West Virginia. And again, you want a first down here, but you cannot afford a turnover, and you cannot take a sack.
Again, pressure. Paul Hall's pass caught by Boykin. He's got the first down, still on his feet. And Boykin down to the 15-yard line, a 17-yard gain.
Nice set of answers by TCU. Coming back, quick rhythm throws, and the screen game. Let's see if now West Virginia elects to play off a little bit because TCU's had answers to the pressure.
9 catches for Trevon Boykin today. Did have the costly fumble, though. Paul Hall with some time this time. There's Doxson. He's down inside the 5. It's first and goal. And that's the 8th catch of the game for Josh Doxson. And he and Darwin Cook slow to get up. This drive, a much-needed counterpunch for TCU. They were on the receiving end of a few West Virginia haymakers, which turned this game.
Here's a formation where TCU's been running a lead and then
Stopped the
pulling
game
it.
due to an injury of number 25 of the defense. He needs to leave for one play.
So Darwin Cook out of the game for one play. That's big. He's one of the leaders on defense. 4 picks on the season and tied for the team lead entering play in tackles.
He's not buying it.
It's like, what? Wait, I gotta leave?
He's saying, yeah, you were down injured. It's like, me? It wasn't me.
Can't slow the game down like that, so that's why the rule was put into place. Whether it's legitimate or not.
Got the trainer on the field.
There was the whole issue, remember, with guys going down to give the defense a chance to catch their breath.
The clock was stopped for the first down, not for an injury to number 25. He's allowed to return to the game.
There
Dana
you go.
Holgerson's negotiating skills are pretty good.
I think the trainer was out there too going, who is hurt? So again, look for the ISO read on the right-hand side, possible pull.
That's Catalan trying to move the pile. Second and goal.
Now with the formations that TCU runs, they don't have a ton of power running formations. They put Boykin in with the tight end and the H-back to run the quarterback power where he fumbled it. Probably come with the same play again.
And now there's a flag on the field.
There is no foul for illegal substitution.
Fans are upset, but hey, that's okay. The refs they're getting it right.
Another whistle.
I think the clock's been running. That's part of what the fans are objecting to here.
57, 3-5-7.
15 seconds added on. Second and goal, TCU. The Horned Frogs' last score came at the 12:10 mark of the second quarter.
Dana using his dog whistle. He wants to get their attention. West Virginia struggling to get lined up.
Here's Catalan. He stopped. 3rd and goal. TCU's offensive line has had issues all season. You talked about not having that power running game. They don't have the offensive line for these kind of plays either.
Yeah, and they looked like their timing was off right there. It almost looked like you're going to have a little false start. It just didn't look like everybody coming off the ball on the snap count. Golson back in there getting some penetration.
Trevon Boykin into the game here on 3rd and goal. 11th play of the drive. Clock running as we come up on 3 minutes to play in regulation.
Again, you got to be smart down here. You want at least 3 points.
Hall, end zone, touchdown. David Porter with his 2nd TD grab of the game. And it's a 1-score game.
Really nice job just reading off the middle backer. Boy, got tipped just a hair, but he got it in there. Quarterbacks work on those throws a lot, and many times kind of throwing it for the crossbar and having your guy just go up and make a play and come down to the back of the end zone.
This to make it a 3-point game. Kick by Oberchrome is good. 11 plays, 73 yards in 4 minutes and 4 seconds. A 3-point game with 3 to go. 27-24, 4th quarter, 3:01 to go in regulation. When these two teams played last year, it went to double overtime. TCU scoring with less than 2 minutes to go in the 4th to force overtime. Time to look at today's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate. Should say Good Hands plays, plural. Got a couple for you. Charles Sims for West Virginia, using the hand to reach for the pylon to get in for 6, and then a concentration by David Porter after Jared Barber tipped it. Porter's 2nd TD grab. It's a 3-point game. TCU still has 2 timeouts left, and if you're the Horned Frogs, you need your defense to come through. They've got one of the best defenses in the country. This is what it's about.
Yeah, West Virginia needs to be smart right here. TCU has had some struggles with the penalties on defense. That's probably what's killed them, particularly in the 4th quarter.
West Virginia, if they can just get a 1st down, that would be huge. Charles Sims gets a block across the 30, and Sims picks up a 1st down. He has run with purpose today. Over 130 yards on the ground for the transfer from Houston.
West Virginia's done a nice job. They had the 1st half. The tight end play pulling the guard that they scored on. Sims got some mileage out of that. Now they're getting outside with this play. We'll see how Gary answers it. Still plenty of time left in the game. That's a big 1st down, if nothing else, for field position.
Mountaineers will bleed the clock as we come up on 2:30 to play. West Virginia has lost 3 in a row. They haven't won since the Oklahoma State game. Back to Sims. He stopped right at the line of scrimmage, maybe lost a yard. It's 2nd down.
This is the 2nd timeout of the 2nd half called by TCU.
TCU calls timeout.
30 seconds over.
This was that 1st run by Sims. Watch the sideline. Stay in bounds. Stay in bounds. Keep that clock going.
Well, I'm sure they've run, well, this is what you call, there's not 4 minutes, but this is what you call the 4-minute drill, where you're trying to take as much time off the clock in between snaps, stay in bounds, lay on the football. If there's a big pile, make the officials unpile you, do whatever you can to get seconds off the clock.
The Mountaineers have not won a road game this season. 0-4 on the road. In fact, since that 5-0 start last year, only 1 road win for Dana Holgerson's squad. And Holgerson's a guy, he's come under a little fire as well. There's talk that athletic director Oliver Luck could be the front runner to be Texas's athletic director. What it means for Holgerson.
Well, you got to give both coaches a lot of credit. TCU with a 2-game losing streak, and West Virginia with 3 games. Both these guys are playing.
How about this? Trickett throws it. He gets Smallwood, and And Smallwood tackled shy of the 40 by Jonathan Anderson. It's 3rd down.
Great job by Anderson, seeing the screen get set up.
This is the 3rd and final time out of the half, called by TCU.
TCU out of timeouts with 2:12 to go. All right, if you're West Virginia, coach, do you run it here or are you trying to pick up the 1st down?
Well, I think I'm going to try to get the 1st down with a safe pass. Something that's easily completable. You may run for it, but you're going to complete it. You know, I don't know that you necessarily want to run it and just go to the punt automatically, but I just think even if you run it here, you're going to have plenty of time left on the clock for TCU, so I think you need to try to get a 1st down with a short pass. Complete it, let him run for it, clock keeps running.
The Mountaineers 5 of 14 on 3rd down today. Season average 30%. 3rd down and 7. TCU out of timeouts.
Here's that full house formation. The diamond look, see if they motion over. Try to run that outside play with Sims one more time.
Press coverage on the outside. They'll keep it on the ground. Remus Smith gets a yard. It's 4th down, and West Virginia's going to let the clock run down as we're under 2 minutes to play in regulation. The Mountaineers will have to punt. TCU will get the ball back, but no timeouts.
Could be a repeat of last year. TCU coming back, kicking a field goal late. We know that Oberkrom's got a leg on him, and he's got some distance.
Oberkrom attempted a 54-yarder last week. Had the distance, but was wide by about 10 feet. And he hit a 53-yarder in TCU's bowl game against Michigan State last season.
West Virginia. The timeout shall be 30 seconds only.
Timeout West Virginia, 1:27 to go.
Their 2nd timeout, they have 1 remaining.
Well, in the 2nd half, TCU turnovers, allowing West Virginia to get back into the game. It was a 17-10 game at halftime. Trevon Boykin fumbles inside the West Virginia 5-yard line. That leads to a field goal. Ishmael Banks, big interception. Cody Clay reaching, gets the touchdown. Casey Paul Hall fumbles. That led to a touchdown catch by Charles Sims.
Yeah, it's one thing when you turn it over, but it's another when the offense comes back and converts it into points. So, you know, kudos to West Virginia.
Nick Boomstash O'Toole has been a weapon in the punting game for West Virginia.
1:30.
Game clock set to 1:30. O'Toole averaging 45 yards a punt. This will be his 7th of the day. This one takes a TCU bounce. And it's going to be marked dead. Only a 27-yard punt with 1:19 left in regulation. We check in with Dari.
Anish, coming up about 10 minutes from now, a little less. Tom Savage and Pitt take on Georgia Tech. You know, these two teams haven't played since 1976, when a man by the name of Tony Dorsett scored 3 touchdowns in a Pittsburgh win, guys.
TCU and West Virginia have only played twice before. TCU won in double overtime last year. West Virginia won the 1984 Blue Bonnet Bowl at the Houston Astrodome. Horned Frogs out of timeouts. Paul Hall finds Brown, breaks the tackle, and he gets out of bounds. He's to be marked out at the 45-yard line. It's a 1st down, a gain of 12, and only 5 seconds off the clock.
That's all you need. And Anish, I think sometimes, guys, you need to throw for 5 and run for 5. You got to think about it in 10-yard chunks right here. You don't need to get the ball way down the field.
3-man rush. Paul Hall's pass hauled in by Porter. It's another 1st down. And a play finally blown dead after a gain of 13 yards. TCU close to field goal range.
What a great play by Porter. Other than the end of the 1st half, West Virginia now, a little out cut, throwing in the right spot.
Low snap. Paul Hall, complete to Boykin, tackled by Dillon.
Now you're getting in that red area. If you're West Virginia, you might want to start thinking about heating them up. Try to get a little pressure right here. Get a sack. Knock him back a little bit. Looks like West Virginia going to elect to rush 3 again. Drop an 8. They haven't seen that except for the end of the first half.
And now West Virginia wants a timeout. That last play good for a first down.
It's the third and final timeout of the game, called by West Virginia.
So both teams,
for 30 seconds only.
Both teams out of timeouts, 52 seconds left. TCU in field goal range. From here, it's about a 49-yarder. This was last year. West Virginia had Geno Smith and Stedman Bailey and Tavon Austin. We went into double overtime. Corey Fuller, big touchdown catch in that second overtime. 2-point conversion for the win. TCU in that game scored a touchdown, a 94-yard reception by Josh Boyce, who's now in the NFL. He along with Sky Dawson. And TCU able to pull it out, and that was sort of when West Virginia was in its little free fall after that great start.
Yeah, now they're reminding Casey right here to be smart. Your kicker has a chance to tie the football game. Now, that being said, I don't know if you want to specifically play for the field goal, but be smart. Can't take a sack, can't turn it over.
That's Boykin. It's for 4. The clock's going to roll.
You got to be careful.
40 seconds.
You've got to be careful when you have no timeouts. You don't want to run it down so close that you get in problems with your. There you go. That's close right there. Good job, Casey.
Incomplete. Third down. Marvin Gross with the pressure. 30 seconds left. Are you thinking run play, center the ball, give your kicker a shot from the middle of the field? No timeouts.
You don't want to do the Wisconsin center, that's for sure.
That's right, yeah.
You know, I don't know. 30 seconds, can you get your field goal team out there? Yeah, you can. I'd almost prefer to have the clock stopped and get your field goal team out there. So maybe you go ahead and kick the field goal on third down. I don't know. I don't want the clock running right here. I'll tell you that right now.
Paul Hall's going to take a shot for Slanina.
Okay.
Out of bounds. Fourth down, 45-yard field goal attempt coming from Jaden Oberchrome. That green line you saw on your screen, that's his field goal range, so well within his range.
That's good. You don't want the clock running. You don't want to go hurry up field goal. You can certainly get it done in anything that's 20 seconds or more.
Career long is 53. This is a 45-yarder, his season long 46. Kick is up. And Oberchrome has tied it with 19 seconds left in regulation.
What a ball game. Great coaching, great plays on each side. Two teams struggling to get a much-needed win on losing streaks. Impressive.
With room to spare. There were a number of fans who left early, Hawk.
Yeah, good for them. You know what I mean? Front runners. You know what? Stick in there. If you're a fan, stay there and support your team. Front runners headed for the parking lot and the freeway. Stick around and support your team.
Still 19 seconds left in regulation, 27-27. We appear to be on the verge of overtime again. And this is a must-win. Coaches won't say it's a must-win. West Virginia defensive tackle Shaq Rowell said earlier this week, the winner of this game is going bowling, the loser ain't. He said that's it, point blank. Stakes high. Mountaineers will have it at the 25. We check in one more time with Dari.
All right, guys, don't forget, when we are done in Texas, we will go to Atlanta. Vad Lee and Georgia Tech. He can run, he can pass, and he gets Pittsburgh in ACC play coming up top of the hour, guys.
19 seconds to go. Neither team has any timeouts. Let's see if West Virginia takes a shot or will simply run out the clock and take their chances in overtime.
there's your answer.
Charles Sims.
Boy, give kicker Jaden Obercrom. That's not that easy. It really isn't. You've got all that pressure on you. It seems like, oh, yeah, no chip shot. You got all that pressure. You got ants crawling all over your legs. Great job.
What a fourth quarter at Amon Carter Stadium. TCU went into the fourth with a 17-10 lead. West Virginia went up by 2 scores with, what, about 8 minutes to go? And then TCU with 10 points down the stretch.
Start the first overtime period.
West Virginia had to score to go up 27-17. Clint Trickett to Charles Sims. And then Casey Paul Hall marching his team downfield. Jared Barber tipped the pass. David Porter able to hang on. And Jaden Obercrom with 19 seconds to go in regulation. A game-tying 45-yard field goal. And we're about to start overtime. Each team will get the ball in overtime. Here are the rules. The coin toss for the choice of offense, the defense, or the end of the field. Each team gets 1 possession from the opponent's 25-yard line. There's no game clock, only a play clock. And if we go to a third overtime, you have to go for 2. And last year, that was the gutsy call by Gary Patterson in the second overtime. Instead of playing for 1 more overtime at the point after, he said, nah, I'm going for 2 in the win. And TCU got the 2-point conversion and the win. One more time, Dari.
All right, Anish, they're getting ready to get going. Aaron Donald in Pittsburgh taking on Georgia Tech. This game will begin on ESPN News. And then when we are finished in Fort Worth, we will bring it back to ESPNU. Gentlemen.
It is head, you have won the toss.
We want to play defense first.
You want to play defense first. What end of the field would you like to play on? Want to play on this end, okay.
All right, so you heard it there. West Virginia will start on defense. TCU
West Virginia
gets the ball
won
first.
The toss, has elected to go on defense for the first series.
So Casey Paul Hall and this TCU offense will start from the West Virginia 25-yard line. Paul Hall today has set career highs in completions and pass attempts. 39 of 56, 392 yards, 3 TDs, 2 picks, and a lost fumble.
Great to see Casey come back and have some success because he's played a whale of a ball game, showed a lot of toughness, a lot of courage, made a lot of plays. You know, you'd hate for that guy to walk around away from this game. Having those 2 turnovers is legacy.
Reminded of that Edward Lawrence Thayer poem, Casey at the bat. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day, and the poem is about all the fans hoping Casey can just get 1 more shot. Now, Casey strikes out in the poem. He's come through in the fourth quarter today for TCU.
That's what I love about you and that Syracuse education. You're always waxing poetic. I'm telling you, you were paying attention in every class.
Just the ones that mattered, I guess.
Now we'll see if they go back to the screen game and the quick passing that led them on the touchdown pass or touchdown drive.
Wayman James tackled in the backfield. Kyle Rose broke that play up. And that's not the start TCU wanted. Nice play by Rose. Ohio native from Centerville High.
Getting some penetration. They've had success with that. Boy, that's not what you want, particularly in overtime. Now, Obercrom has proved that he can still kick it from there, but you certainly want to stay at least in field goal range.
Ball now at the 31, 2nd down and 16. Catalan in the game at running back. Paul Hall hit, and it's caught by Catalan. He got a yard out of that, and there's a flag at the end of the play. Will Clark tipped the ball. Catalan able to recover and make the catch.
After the play was over, personal foul with an unnecessary late hit. Number 75 of the offense. The penalty will be 15 yards. The down counts.
That is John
Will be 3rd down.
Wooldridge. now
see
you're
all
out
of
of
it,
field goal
but
range.
that's just, yeah, that is, you got to be smart. Yeah,
Ball on
that's
the
just
45 now.
hole.
Paul Hall downfield. Porter was turned around.
Adam Porter needs to come out of that break, get his eyes around. I think he thought he wasn't going to get the ball.
Now, if you go back to last year's game, in the first overtime, nobody scored. West Virginia had a field goal attempt blocked by Jason Verrett, and TCU missed a field goal.
How about this?
In the first overtime.
How about this?
This is about a 62-yarder for Jaden Overcrow.
Wow.
Career-long 53. That was in the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl. Overcrow. That's wide.
Hole. I think he had enough distance, though.
I think he did, too.
I think he had enough distance.
So now West Virginia with the ball at the TCU 25-yard line. All the Mountaineers need is a field goal, and they'll come away with a road win in Fort Worth.
Yeah, you run it 3 times, 2 hands on the ball, be smart. Boy, I think he had the distance.
I think he did. Looked like he did.
Boy, good effort. How about that? That's not something you see every day.
Trickett will throw it to Keel Shorts. He's tackled right at the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10 for Shorts. That's his 6th catch. 97 yards in the game. Entering today, in 4 previous road games, he had a total of 5 catches for 71 yards. So the true freshman has come to play in hostile territory.
Guy, Clint needs to be really smart here now. He needs to really take care of the football. You don't want to turn over. You don't want to sack.
Old reliable Charles Sims up the gut. Inside the 15-yard line, a gain of 13, and Sims over 150 yards rushing.
Simple zone play going off the left-hand side. Little gap error there, looked like.
High snap. Sims, we'll just use him now. He gets a yard. 2nd down and 9. You see the versatility that he brings to this offense. He can catch it, he can run it. Mel Kiper's got him as the number 8 draft prospect among running backs.
2 hands on the football.
2nd and 9. West Virginia in field goal range. 3 points wins it. Another high snap. Sims gets out of the backfield. Running right side. Charles Sims with a touchdown.
Holding.
There is a flag.
Holding. We got a holding call.
Not so fast.
Holding, offense number 67. The penalty will be 10 yards from the spot of foul. Replay the down.
Not only do you go back 10 yards, now you back up the field goal kicker.
Right over here. Really didn't need to do that even.
You could have kicked on 2nd down, I guess, if you wanted to.
For sure. Yeah, especially if you do, you're going to go backwards. Again, 2 hands on the football. Yeah, I'm not so sure you don't center it. Kick it on 3rd down. If you have an issue, you can fall on the football.
This is Dreamus Smith, and he tries to do just that. Get it to the center of the field. He's got it to about the 16-yard line, so you're looking at a 33-yard field goal. Josh Lambert with a chance to win it for West Virginia.
Kicker heroics here today.
Remember last year in the first overtime, West Virginia had a field goal blocked by TCU's Jason Verrett.
Yeah, he's lined up over here. We've got the double wing formation, which makes it a little tougher to come from that side.
Lambert's kick is up, and it's true, and West Virginia scores a win on the road for Dana Holgorsen. Josh Lambert comes through. The Mountaineers snap a 3-game losing streak. TCU has lost 3 straight for the first time in the Gary Patterson era. A much-needed win for West Virginia. Dana Holgorsen can breathe a sigh of relief. Final score from Fort Worth: West Virginia 30, TCU 27. Now we send it to Atlanta. It's Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech in the ACC.